Wow, Callum. Ron's looking a little more white than usual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, did you get a haircut? Did you shower? Everybody, Ron showers regularly, by the way. I would know. I've been there too.
Wait a minute. Ron, why the long face?
Why are you so sad, Ron?
That's for sure.
Ron.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, have we not started?
I don't know.
Ron. Oh, okay, great. So, anyways, welcome to Reactaholics. This is our guest, Darthpotter.
Hello.
Number 7.
Hello. I'm here because I was told we were going to do a Brady Bunch homage, which we seem to be in position, so let's do it.
Yeah, we got Daniel Radcliffe on a horse. We're ready for Brady Bunch.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't see his lower half, but I hope he's naked. If not, we're not ready.
Yeah.
Of course, we are also joined by... Whoa, I'm outside and I just saw the biggest spider. But,
you know, if it bites you can probably get superpowers.
Let's see. Let's see if I can get it to bite me.
Do it.
Spider. Oh wait, that's my
a Marvel
face
reference. That's a Marvel reference.
Spider, bite me.
Okay,
Bite me, spider.
I have agreed that everyone has had enough of you referencing Disney and Marvel all the time. So now I'm going to do a drinking game. Every time you mention Marvel or Disney anyway, I'm going to take a sip of this.
How do you think it's going to dissuade us from talking about Disney and
Marvel? Is that Guinness?
Ow.
This is actually cider. Do not worry.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Even in an episode where we have planned it to where there's not a lot of Disney and Marvel talk, you're going to die.
Yeah, because you really think that's going to dissuade us? Yeah.
Yeah, I got to side with Will on this one. Honest to God, if someone said, Neil, I'm going to drink every time you say Marvel stuff, that's what the whole show would be about. I'd throw out the script. I'd just be like, okay, here we go. And I'd I'd talk about Hawkeye for hours.
Yeah, of course. So, Darthpotter7, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Will, but on Stardust I go as Darthpotter7. And I make reactions to a bunch of movies. Obviously, I'm a big Star Wars and Harry Potter fan, but I usually try my best to branch out to as many different genres and even time periods as I can. Just trying to appreciate film as an art. So yeah.
Well, how does it feel to be the first official guest on Reactaholics? Are you into it? Are you turned on?
Oh, I'm very turned on.
That's the one qualification we have to be on the show. You must be in the mood.
Yes, we might potentially have some not so perfect vanity might be joining us. Looks like.
Yeah. Is she in right now?
Yes.
Yes, she is.
Hi, Mel.
Sure.
Hi.
This is Callum. This is Neil, and this is White Ron.
Yep.
I don't know whether to feel offended by that last remark or being like, oh, we have another Ron. Joy.
Well, here's the thing. You have to ask yourself, what would Ron do if he heard the joke? And you know he'd be laughing.
Okay, let's be real. Y'all can keep your horsey jokes.
Y'all can keep your white version of me.
Nice.
But Mel, how are you doing? We're still in the intro.
Oh, so you guys just started? You guys recording right now?
Yeah, we just started. I called.
Yep.
Yeah, I called. Will White. I said a little bit, and then friggin' Harry Potter on a horse showed up, and here we are.
Yeah.
Well, hi. It's great to have you on. You're Dark Potter, right?
Yes, I am.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
For the record,
Well-
everybody, that was not staged. This is the first time the two have met.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, well,
you
kind of, sort of, I mean, like, interacting on, like, Stardust and stuff, but this is our first time, like, having, like, an actual back and forth dialogue, I believe.
right? Because I remember you're actually one of my first followers. Actually,
Oh, was
I
it?
think you were.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right, I was.
Mhm.
I was
Just
there.
remember, everybody, if you want to be in the show, just do a reaction to one of the topics we've done here. We'll look you up. We'll message you maybe. Tag us in it. We'll see. That's how Darthpotter. I can't speak.
Ever
Darth
since
Potter.
the origins
Darth
of her account.
As Callum singing
Callum?
in the background.
Yeah,
Just-
Callum, I used to be the biggest singer on the show, and then you showed up, and now I'm just Neil.
Wasn't Callum here from
Well,
the beginning?
if you want to get like technically like kind of dark, if you want to have, claim your reign, can always, eliminate the problem. Yes.
Are you saying we should kill Callum?
I'm not saying anything. Eliminate the
Reactaholics, Game of Thrones? Callum, don't sing! They're talking about killing you! Run!
No, eliminating could imply other things. You're the one who naturally went to murder, so technically you're the one who wants.
Eliminating implies one thing!
I am going to sign a petition for a better ending.
All right, okay. So Ron isn't here. We have White Ron, but that's not the same. So, so I'm going to be taking over today and talking about a little bit of the news before we get started.
Okay.
Now, granted, I am not Ronald Smith, so I'm probably not going to be as good as him, but I'm going to give it a try. So today, Callum, remember how you said earlier you were going to drink that thing every time I mentioned Marvel?
And Disney.
Well, some Marvel news came out today, and we have to talk about it.
Okay.
So, the Marvel news of which I am referring to is one of the actors in the movie Morbius was in an interview and directly asked what's going on with the universes. He answered, the Spider-Verse and Marvel Universe, Cinematic Universe, are now one.
Yes! Fuck yeah!
Oh, baby, there ain't no mountain high. Oh, does that explain like the meme I saw about Venom entering in the MCU?
Like a
Well, it's not a meme anymore.
Well, no, I mean I just saw it like a day ago, and I was just like, I have a feeling that means that like every single thing Spider-Man related is now in the MCU, and then you drop this news, and I was like, okay, meme confirmed.
Yeah.
I mean, well, here's the thing. It's not fully confirmed. He is an actor, and Disney and Sony haven't said anything. However, my immediate assumption is, well, he's an actor. One of my first questions as an actor would be, hey, what universe is this movie in?
Well, I mean, the thing about like Spider-Verse is the way that I kind of interpret it was that like pretty much like every Spider-Man universe that has ever been, like, from like the original comics to like, all the different realities of the comics, like the Ultimate Universe in 2099 and what have you, or even like all the cartoons like the 90s cartoon, or we actually saw in the movie the 60s cartoon, all of that now exists within like the same multiverse. So
that was a great joke.
Yeah.
So I always interpret it as like, with Spider-Verse, like, the MCU is canon within that. That's how I always interpreted it.
My goodness.
Yeah, me
So
too.
it is-
Apparently, Tom Holland was supposed to have a cameo in both Venom and Into the Spider-Verse. But my views on
Into
it
the Spider-Verse. What?
My views on it are pretty simple. Listen, Marvel, if this isn't a thing, just let it be a thing, because hear me out. I know Venom wasn't the best movie in the world. I know this technically means you had to work with Jared Leto, and that's gross. I know, but hear me out. Sony is basically offering to do a bunch of origin stories for villains that you can just chuck in your films, has like little bites. Like, for example, Morbius could mean something in Blade. Venom could be in an Avengers movie. I'm just saying, it's free. It's free character development. So if you don't want it, fine. I like the MCU how it is. But if you take it, all you're getting is more money.
You'll become the Smog.
Well, essentially, like, I don't.
Venom. I mean, I like the concept of Tom Hardy being Venom, but why does it be like the way that this Venom is written? I don't know if and especially this Carnage. Like, there's gonna be no, I don't want that Carnage. No.
Listen. Just imagine everything that's happening, but directed by a Marvel director under the Marvel font.
That means
go ahead, Mel.
But if it's directed, who did Captain Marvel?
Hold on. Mel's been trying to speak.
Sorry.
It's okay, man. You're new. Go ahead, Mel.
Right. So anyway, I kind of have to be on Darth Potter's opinion about that's how I've always seen the Spider Universe as it is, since there's multi-universes. But I think either way, Disney's not going to be at a loss of money. Just throw a comment out there about the money thing being no matter where they go with it, it's just they're always going to have money because
I agree
when it comes to this shit. But
I agree, but here's the thing: they're greedy and they want more money.
well, that's true, but that kind of leads to my point of I don't think it would be wise for them to include the Tom Hardy version of Venom. I think they're pretty much going to do what they did with Spider-Man in the MCU. Is just you know those 3 before with Tobey Maguire. Fuck that shit. That other one that kept sucking, the Amazing Spider-Man. Fuck that shit. Yeah. We're giving it a new redo. And I think that the only smart course of action is if they pretty much discredit the Sony Venom and make their own. And I know you're supposed to.
Yeah, I pretty much. I'm sorry. I pretty much agree with that mentality, but the one thing is that as a movie Venom was, it did make a lot of money, and there were sequels. So yeah,
you're good, Will. Here's my final opinions on it before we move on to the next piece of news.
I'm still sad
that
Venom
more.
made more money than Into the Spider-Verse, but go on.
Oh, me too.
Which I would partially fall for because I saw Venom in the theaters.
What? Venom made more money than the Spider-Verse? No, stop. What is wrong with people?
Let's just all calm down. Let's all calm down. We're going to have a whole discussion.
Friends, I never got the chance to see
You started it, Neil. You started it. This is what happens.
Go on, Darth. Go on.
Yeah, I will take partial blame on that. I saw Venom in the theaters because my friends really wanted to see it, but I didn't get to see Spider-Verse because I just didn't have the time for it, so I will take partial blame on that for Venom making more money than Spider-Verse.
You just pissed off the internet, buddy.
I know.
Here are my final opinions, and then we can move on to more news. So my opinions are simply this. The best part of Venom was when Tom Hardy and Venom, when Eddie Brock and Venom were interacting off it. And I feel like in a Avengers-style movie, that's all we'd have time to see. Because they'd be doing a whole nother plot. So all we'd really get is the character elements. So I think it could work. I don't know, though. I'm not gonna be like, it will be great. Everyone shut up. But
yes, speaking of shutting up, let's just move on to the next subject, shall we?
Well, Callum, I have something else to tell you. You know how you also said you were going to take a drink if we talked about superheroes?
No. I didn't say
the next thing is superhero news.
Marvel. I said Marvel.
Well, that's some good news because this one is DC news.
Yay.
Joker.
But it's different DC than what we're used to talking to. No, I don't know shit about Joker. I haven't seen it yet.
I'll mention it later.
But, okay, here's the thing. So, have any of you heard about Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Yes, I have. Yes,
First
I have.
heard
Okay, Darth has heard about it.
I have.
Okay, so we've all heard about it. Are you talking about the TV show coming out?
Oh, it's going to be a TV show.
It's not really a TV show. Hear me out. So every year, the CW shows do a crossover. And this year, they're doing Crisis on Infinite Earth. And I was with everybody else saying, oh, they're going to try to do that on DC TV. That's not going to work. They don't have Batman and everybody. Guys, this might be the best thing ever. I'm just going to read you some of the cast members they said that are going to come out. And by read, I mean I'm going to say them out loud. I don't remember all of them, but I'll say what I remember. Kevin Conroy is going to be playing a live-action Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Burt Ward is going to come back and play a live-action Robin. Burt Ward, of course, was in the Adam West series.
Hallelujah.
The Superman from Smallville is coming back, along with the Superman from Superman Returns. We are also going to see John Diggle, who in the show, it's been said before, by the way, I don't watch Arrow, so I've been told this secondhand. In the show before, it's been said that his last name, his maiden name was Stewart. So apparently, in this, we're going to see from another dimension, John Stewart Green Lantern.
Okay.
And here's the thing, guys. There's more, but I don't know them. There are so many. There are more returning cast members. Apparently, there's a Batman Beyond situation happening. I don't know anything. But what I have told you is what I know.
Okay, so many thoughts.
So many. Oh, and by the way, this will be happening, I believe, over 6 episodes.
Okay. All right. So many things to say. First off, little thing about the CW shows, particularly with Flash and Arrow, the ones that I've seen. First couple seasons I thought were really good. After with both Flash and Arrow, after the first 2 seasons, that's when the CW started to show a little too much of its CW-ness in there. It's like, no, I'm sorry, I just can't. This is just like devolved into a soap opera now, which I know comics are basically soap operas. But this is like CW soap opera. This is like Riverdale, Dawson's Creek bullshit. I can't put up with that. No. This sounds interesting. Wow. This really is Infinite Earths. I'm kind of hoping though that this is going to be treated like Into the Spider-Verse, like, the way that they treated their, multiple universes and stuff. Caleb, I just mentioned a Marvel thing. You gotta take a shot, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, I hope that it's going to be like that, where they actually, treat their multiple universes with respect, and not just hey, look, it's this character from this universe that you remember and stuff like that. And I'm also kind of worried because I know that Flash, they did their own version of Flashpoint Paradox, which I thought was really mishandled. So
it was kind of shitty.
Yeah, it was very poorly mishandled. So I am very curious to see how this goes. I crossing my fingers, it'll be good. But I am very cautious about this.
Okay. I agree mostly with you. I do have to say this though. I think I've seen more of the CW shows than you. I've seen the first. I am up to date on Legends of Tomorrow, which gets really fucking weird in the best way. There's this one episode about a demonic unicorn that's just great. I won't spoil anything, but it's great.
I've never seen Legends. Now that you mentioned demonic unicorns, like, okay, now I have to see it.
I mean, Constantine is in the season with the demonic unicorn, so. But just to continue my thoughts, I'm currently getting up to date with Flash. I've never seen a single episode of Arrow, except for the crossovers. And I got up to season 2 on Supergirl, and then I quit because, well, I'm going to say something kind of controversial, but in my opinion, Supergirl is kind of preachy. But, okay. So I've kind of been following it for a little bit, and I sort of dropped off the bandwagon. But then when they said Kevin Conroy, that's when, like, dog style, my ears perked up, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I just went through, and I know I didn't properly mention everything. Apparently there will be a Lex Luthor or something. I don't know. And also, there's got to be some surprises.
Yeah.
Like, right?
They have-
Oh, yeah, there are rumors about Wonder Woman's original actor coming back, like the woman who played her in the old TV show.
Linda Carter?
Just, yeah. For some reason, I'm thinking it's Linda Cardellini, but yeah, it's probably Linda Carter.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say that's off. Now I'm kind of like on a similar page, like combining between like you and Darth Potter. Is that, and I have a confession to make. I have not seen an ounce of any DC show, whether it's
I haven't either.
Well, it's because like, okay, at the time when Smallville was big, I was, probably around like 8-9 years old, and I was like transitioning from like, okay, I'm a bigger kid now, but I still don't want to watch shit like this because this meant for adults, and I'm a kid. So I still continued like watching cartoons until I was like 14, 15 years old. But from just what I've heard from different shows, like, for example, the big ones have to be like Flash and Arrow, is that first few seasons are great. And then it starts becoming like stupid or mishandled or pretty much like the known DC stuff that we see in like movies. But hearing this is just, I'm intrigued. But at the same time, it's just like, well, even if they got like the big names on the show, it can be, it could go in a different direction. So, but it's getting me to the point where it's just like, maybe I should sit down and watch some of this just to be up to speed.
Here's the last thing I'll say about it, and then we can get Callum's thoughts and move on. Sort of like what Darth said, what if this is what Spider-Verse was, and it's just a big celebration of DC? Like, seriously, we're getting Burt Ward, the Adam West Robin, to put on that weird underwear again.
Yeah.
I hope he wears the underwear.
Which that's going to be so weird, by the way, for one, seeing Robin being older than Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Conroy doesn't look super young.
Yeah, compared to Burt Ward.
Kevin Conroy has actually worked with Adam West in Batman animated series with the Grey Ghost episode.
Yeah.
Think about it. What if this is DC TV's Grey Ghost episode? Think about that.
Maybe.
I'm pretty
But
sure.
we'll just have to see when it comes out. Honestly, like this is one of the ones where it's just like, hey, I need to kind of have some catching up to do before I jump ship. First and foremost.
Yeah, I will tell you now, Arrow and Flash, the two that I've seen, first 2 seasons are great, and then the rest are just no. Although I did hear that season 5 of Arrow was actually pretty good, from what I heard.
I'm just saying this. Legends of Tomorrow is good till the very end. It's still good, but season 4, things get even weirder than they were in the last few seasons.
Yeah, now
it's wonderful.
Now I have to start watching Legends of Tomorrow, and I will say that just for you, Melissa, the later seasons of Flash and Arrow, they're not like bad the way that like certain DC movies are bad. They're more bad than just like CW bad. Just like it's just the typical CW bullshit.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I just have a lot of homework to do, especially since like given like my recent situation has changed. You have no idea how much catching up I still have to go through, being like, what? There's more I've missed.
You just take your time now. No rush.
Yeah.
But remember that episode's coming out in like January, so rush.
Damn.
You know how many? Like, I just finally got to watch Endgame for the first time, like not that long ago, and I still have.
I'm kidding.
Like, I don't mean to like change the subject. So, I have a little bit of personal news myself.
Oh? Is this camera news?
I finally decided to drop the show American Horror Story for good.
Oh, really? What happened?
Because
that's always the
first
step. That's always the first step.
Well, okay, not to get like too spoiler territory for anyone who hasn't seen season 8.
I don't give a shit. Mel's gonna spoil season 8 of the show. Go ahead.
I don't care either.
Pretty much, they had the most easiest idea for an apocalypse season, the biblical sense. I was expected to see being like, okay, demons rising, nuclear war. Barely get that in the first few episodes, and then they decided to make it fucking Coven 2.0, which people swear that season 3 was the best one, and I'm one of those ones who say no, fuck you, and then all we just get is season 3.2, and you don't get.
I haven't seen a single episode, and I don't think I will until I die, and then I'll only do it if I'm in hell.
I would only say watch, if you're ever gonna pick up the show, ever watch seasons 1, 2, and 4. Those are the best seasons, in my opinion.
Okay,
otherwise, the rest of them are trash.
I remember you ranting about this series before when we had a conversation with John Bailey. You were ranting how it was just X-Men torture and just nothing more.
That's season 3. That's season 3 in a nutshell, except it's pretty much like Xavier's school for like the gifted, except for instead of mutants, it's fucking witches who are pretty much fucking useless. But... yeah, but as of now, I've told people being like, with the latest season that came out, season 9, I'll only watch it if someone gives me the access. No, if someone gives me the access to it. Otherwise, even then, I'm not in a rush to watch season 9, and I officially dropped the show. I'm done with it. It was a good show for a short time, and then I don't know what happened. I don't know who drank what. But I'm just done with the show.
All it takes is one bad season.
All it takes is more than one bad season. I should have stopped at season 4. Did I listen to myself? No.
And the final piece of news, before we can start the show proper, Callum, get ready for your swig. I think everybody's heard about it, but I'm going to say it anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, Spider-Man is back in the MCU.
Toast.
I mean, it's good news. It's definitely good news. Like, a lot of people think this was all a sham. This was to see what would happen if Spider-Man got pulled out and how the fans would react. But I gotta say, I don't give a shit. I fucking love Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm ready for one more.
I heard rumors that Tom Holland played a key part in bringing Spider-Man back, so Tom Holland really is a hero from heaven.
Not only Tom Holland, Kevin Feige himself. Both of them did a lot for this.
Kevin who?
Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige, Callum.
I'm not familiar with that name.
That's the guy who's been running the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, dude.
Oh, right.
What the fuck is wrong with you? It's Kevin fucking Feige.
I don't know.
You know Iron Man? He was a part of that. You know Captain America? He was a part of that. You know every MCU movie ever, he's a part of that, bro.
Oh, was he?
He's the guy who makes this happen. How do you not know who he is? His name is in any credits. His name is always there. He's the guy. He's the dude.
Pay more attention next time, then. Thank you for putting that out there.
I'm down.
How do you not know who Kevin Feige is?
Well, I knew now.
The DC people know who Kevin Feige is, Callum.
Let's.
No one mentioned Kevin Feige.
No, I'm having a breakdown.
No, you don't need to have a breakdown. You don't need to have a breakdown. That's my job. Calm down.
Why?
It's
no, hold me. Hold me. I'm scared. I don't like this world.
There. Callum, just let Neil calm down a second.
I'm just looking at a picture of Kevin Feige covered in lipstick and tears, like, they will know your name.
Okay,
and there's an animated episode for you.
Yeah.
Because if you were that descriptive, I'm worried.
I mean, I ain't saying anything that could get me arrested.
Oh, really?
And with that, let's move on.
Yeah. Like, just to finish up, like, that news, like, I knew that people were taking it, like, I don't mean to sound mean, but I knew that was going to happen, being like, no, look at, obviously, like, Guardians of the Galaxy, like, that one was kind of a bigger deal because of the controversy behind it, but everybody knew that, you know, that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 would not happen if, you know. So when I heard about the news about Spider-Man, I wasn't, like, too worried about it, being like, oh, it's just back with Sony. We'll see
I was in the
about
same boat.
Yeah.
And I think that people's reactions were way over, you know, blown. Being like, don't get me wrong, Sony has fucked up the Spider-Man verse so many fucking times, it's criminal. But it's also being like, remember what happened with, you know, a little bit ago with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and that was actually legitimate concern because it was like, this is just a property issue. That was it. Being like, yeah, Disney did not buy the rights. Sony already had the rights, but we all knew that it was, you know, it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyone who saw my Minecraft streams, you'll know. I was saying since the day the news came out, this shit is a bluff.
Yeah.
I knew it from the beginning.
I don't think it was a bluff per se. Sorry, Will.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
No. Did you have something you really want to say?
I didn't think it was a bluff. I just think that people were just overly exaggerating it, being like, hey, it's probably not going to fly because the fans are going to speak, but they spoke like they were just prepared for the worst, and like all the memes and all the videos of like people being sad about it, and it's just like, guys, give it a little bit. Give it a fucking little bit. Disney's a terrible monopoly now. Of course they're going to get Spider-Man back.
They're not quite a monopoly yet. Not yet. There's still a couple studios they haven't bought.
Yeah, you know, they don't have Universal or DreamWorks or Humanity.
If they bought Universal and DreamWorks, I'm fucking off Disney train.
You won't.
All right, Will, do you have anything to say?
Okay, yeah. I will admit I was part of that initial strong reaction, especially because Spider-Man is like my favorite superhero. He was one of the very first fictional characters I was ever introduced to, and so far Tom Holland is. I mean, I'm sorry to all you Tobey Maguire fans out there. Trust me, I get it, I understand it. I love Tobey too, but Tom Holland is definitely my favorite live-action Spider-Man that we have ever gotten. So yeah, my initial gut reaction was pretty strong. I even had that in a reaction I did on Stardust, but it's like, you know, once I started to calm down a bit, I started with the same thing that you guys are saying. Now it's like, of course, Tom Holland is not actually going to leave the MCU. He's too popular. Disney has too much money to not be able to make that negotiation. I don't know if I would say that this was all some part of like elaborate thing. Are you actually going to pull up the reaction, Caleb?
No, I wasn't. I was just doing a little advertisement.
Oh, okay, good.
Would have taken too much time.
Oh, yeah. I lost my place. Okay, so yeah, Spider-Man is too big of a name. Disney has too much money to not make this deal work. And then I don't know if I would really agree. Like sometimes this does work where my mind goes like, oh, maybe this is like some game played by Disney. Looking at it rationally, I don't think that's what they would have done, because it's like, what would they have to gain from that? But yeah, there was no doubt that Disney would make it work out. But yeah, and now he has Spider-Man back, and now no reason to complain for anything. Not that we ever really had one to begin with.
I did. But
we're spoiled.
I mean, had they actually gotten rid of Spider-Man, like the second a movie came out from Sony that was Spider-Man and not in the MCU, that's when I would have had opinions.
Yeah.
But okay, so with that, there's probably more news, but again, I'm not as good as Ron. Sorry, blame Ron. He's not here. Hashtag where's the Ron?
Still in the woods.
He's still in the woods. He's still in the woods. You know, weirdly enough, we made that joke, but he hasn't been in an episode since. Okay, so let's just move on to the actual topics.
Yes, today we're going to do a topic-based episode, which we haven't done in quite a while, so I thought it would be quite fun to get back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But hold on, since we did take a little bit of time and there are now 4 of us, I think we should do one topic each and then have Chris give a topic, just like the good old days.
Hey!
Nostalgia.
Yay!
Nostalgia.
I think just in commemorating of like what we, have done, I think our guest Will should pick a topic.
Okay,
Yes.
well,
Oh, also, just
so you
want to
go first?
One more condition. I have allowed Darth Potter as the special guest to have several topics. So since there's several of us, I think 2 or 3 would do.
All right.
Well, we'll see where it goes then. But go ahead, Darth.
Okay, well, since this is the beginning of October and is the spooky season, as most people are spelling it now, all my topics are kind of Halloween related. So the first one is, what is your favorite Halloween related movie that is not a horror movie, but the 2 movies that you cannot choose are Nightmare Before Christmas and Ghostbusters?
I knew he was going to say at least Nightmare. Thank you for saying that, because I still do love Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's one of those movies where I think it's overly
It's very overplayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very overplayed.
I don't mind. I love the shit out of that movie. Yeah, it is overplayed.
Yeah.
Can you blame them? It's a good movie.
It's a good movie, but at the same time, so much Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
But, like, if you must know, so Eli is also, he's throwing a Halloween party at the end of the month. And the only thing Nightmare Before Christmas related we bought, which I'll send a picture in the chat later, is we actually bought a plushie of Oogie Boogie. And that's the old, and it's
that
sitting
sounds
on.
cute.
Well, yeah, and the cutest part is it's sitting as temporary decor on Dornese's cat tree.
I've encountered Oogie Boogie in Comic-Con.
Yeah,
Wait, really?
But otherwise we both agreed that we would not do a lot of Nightmare Before Christmas stuff for decoration.
Boogie's got to be hell to cosplay. But back to topic. The topic was, what is your favorite Halloween movie
that is not horror related, and that is not Nightmare Before Christmas or Ghostbusters?
I'll need to think about this.
Okay. I'm thinking about this. I have one answer immediately.
I have one answer immediately too.
You want to go first, Mel, so I can think about it a bit?
It has to be, and I don't know how, I know that Callum and Neil are younger than me. I don't know how old you are, Will. So for those who are younger, my favorite thing would have to be Disney's Halloween Treat. It used to be a special that played on Disney back when the Disney Channel was Disney Channel. No, it's Disney's Halloween Treat.
Oh.
Is what it's called. I've done a reaction about it before. I have talked about it before on the show, but the reason why is that it's just small collaborations of, Disney's cartoon past that's related to the spooky season, and it has this kick-ass narrator, and it's just a fun thing to watch, especially if you want to go back on a nostalgia basis. I watched this when it was on cable, back when the Disney Channel was good, in my opinion. But
fun fact.
So in other words, before Lizzie McGuire.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Mel. I have seen this, and we've actually had conversations about it because I love that thing too.
I feel like I might have seen it, but just years and years and years ago. It definitely sounds familiar from the way you're describing it.
There's technically 2 versions of it. There's the original one, and then there's the remastered. So the slight difference is that you get a bit of more of the narrator, and he kind of talks through like a pumpkin. That one I don't like as much as the original one.
I don't know which one I saw, but the one I saw was on VHS.
Yeah.
I don't know if that changes anything.
I technically can get them both on VHS. Like, actually, that was one of the gifts that Eli bought for me before, the incident with Tony and all that. And I have it on VHS to this very day. And usually, like, I tell people, being like, if you remember the original at all, it always started off with the Grim Grinning Ghost music video. That's the original, or at least in my opinion, that's the original. Because the remastered
with Maleficent and all the villains?
Yeah. And with Donald Duck being like Ghost Donald Duck.
I remember that as a young Neil. I was sitting down watching my VHS. And I had a lot of those old Disney ones where they would do like music videos and stuff. I guess it's not really music videos. It's just they took the characters and would do the songs and do a little show in like Disneyland, or one was at the beach.
I remember this show called House of Mouse, where all the Disney characters hang out in this theater and they watch just classic Disney shorts. There was
it wasn't
VHS,
that.
I remember. Where,
it wasn't that. That came like way after.
Yeah.
This was proto House of Mouse.
Yeah. So I just remember them making a Halloween show for that. Yeah.
If I were to pick like a second runner up, though, for at least one that people might know, would have to be the Halloween Tree. Would be my second runner up.
I think that's definitely a good pick, and you've actually talked about that before, so I know it means a ton to you.
Right. Yeah, but that's my answer.
Well, my answer is a little complicated. I guess I have two.
Right.
Number one is I really like, and I know a lot of people don't, I may be pissing a few people off.
Oh, no.
I really fucking love the Goosebumps movie. I love it. Like, I am
just watched that asshole. No,
Okay.
No.
I love it.
She loves it.
It is
It's so
sacrilege.
Halloween. It's so Halloween.
Okay, Neil, I'm gonna help. Neil, I'm gonna help you, everybody. I'm gonna help take some of the hate off of you. I've never read a single Goosebumps book or seen a single episode of the show or watched the movie. I know nothing about Goosebumps, so just gonna say that right now, just to help get a little bit of the hate off of you.
Well, you definitely took a lot of it. Even I've read a Goosebumps book, and everyone who watches my streams knows I can barely read.
Well, you have a time after. You have Netflix. All the episodes and all the seasons of Goosebumps are on Netflix.
I would
Halloween.
recommend watching JonTron review them. They're hilarious.
He did Are You Afraid of the Dark? Did he do Goosebumps?
Actually, there was one Goosebumps episode that I watched as a kid. They played in my third grade class, and I remember it scaring the shit out of me. It was the one with the mask. Like, there was a girl wearing like a mask, and it kind of like took her personality. That
episode,
I actually did watch, and that one I remember like freaking me out. Like, I was like scared shitless of that one.
Yeah. That one I knew scared a lot of kids. But you liked the movie, Neil?
Listen, hear me out. Okay. Look, I always say that. Hear me out. I always say that your personal experience with the movie should always come into account when you talk about it. I saw this movie very close to Halloween Day in the theater, and it was actually a first date movie. And you know how fun those are. But second of all, yes, I fucking love the movie. It isn't a bad story. There's a lot of cool visuals. I'm not going to say Goosebumps the movie, the greatest of all plots. Move over, Casablanca. Get out of the way, Avengers Endgame. No, I'm not going to say that. But obviously, it's very Halloween. It knows what it is. It's like a kid's movie. It's meta, and I love all things meta. Plus, I'm sorry, Jack Black is funny. Everything in it was really good, in my opinion. And the visuals, like, I do not do drugs, but I would while watching that movie. It's so trippy with the giant freaking praying mantis, with the friggin' invisible dude, the giant, like, Sasquatch-looking guy. It's so Halloween, man.
So remember, kids, don't do drugs unless you're watching the Goosebumps movie.
Or Doctor Strange.
Or Doctor Strange, yes.
You know what? Just don't do them at all. Just don't do them at all. But okay, so here's my second choice because I realize that one's controversial. But here's the thing. That was my first answer. Immediately when you said something that isn't horror, I was like, Goosebumps. Because I love the movie. I really do. I got the Steelbook. But, so if I had to pick another one, and I wouldn't call this second, I would put it right next to it. Every year I try to watch Monster House.
Oh, yeah.
Because the creativity of literally making a haunted house the main villain of a movie, like, that alone is creative. But when they're exploring the house, it's so spooky, and you really feel it. Like there's a deep backstory. Like, I know how I was saying, the story doesn't matter with Goosebumps. But with Monster House, there's a really dark story here. And I'm sorry, the final fight.
Yeah. And I remember, like,
that shit's terrifying.
I also remember it had, like, a layer of tragedy, too, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, because the wife of the house owner actually died. And she
spoilers for this, like, super old movie. And if you haven't seen Monster House, it's your fault. But his wife, her name is Constance, passed away, and her soul is trapped in the house. Constance is the house.
My goodness.
Right.
She pulls out a thing of dynamite, and he's like, I gotta finish this. And my gosh, like, that's Tom Kenny doing the voice. That's SpongeBob voicing the old man, the creepy old man.
Right.
And
well, and I think where the tragedy really is in that movie is that Constance was not a good person before she died. And then when she became the, entity of the house and all that, he pretty much got forever stuck with her. And he wasn't protecting her from people. He was protecting people from her. And I think that's what made it more.
He still loved her, which is the greatest tragedy of it all.
Well, yeah, he loved her, but he knew she wasn't a good person and that he was, fending off people away from the house, not to protect her, but to protect others from her. And I think that's where the greatest tragedy of that movie is.
I'm just saying, as a kid, and once again, your personal experience with the movie, in my opinion, matters. I saw this movie at my favorite place in the world, which is my local drive-in, which is still going today. That's the first time I saw it. And my word, just seeing the house, like, here's the thing. We live in a world where people say creativity is dead. There is nothing creative left about the world. We're just seeing reiterations of the same story.
That's because you don't see the movies that are actually creative.
I know, but there's a movie where a big-ass house tries to eat kids, and the house has anatomy.
Yeah.
It's so creative. It's so good, and I love watching it. And also, Goosebumps is good, too, so fuck you, Internet.
All right.
Callum, I think it's your turn, and then Darth gets to say his piece about his topic.
There are so many movies about Halloween that are non-horror related I could choose from. Sorry, go on, Mel.
I was going to say what would help is, like, name, like, the one or the two movies that you personally have to watch at least in October.
At least in October. Yes, at least in October. I wrote several in mind, so I'll mention these two much like Neil did. So I suppose my first shout out will be to the Addams Family.
Callum, I apologize. I notice you've gone silent. Everybody, please do snap your fingers when it's appropriate. Dun-dun-dun-dun. 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 They're creepy and they're spooky. Okay, we're not going to do the whole song.
Creepy and they're spooky.
They're creepy and they're kooky, mysterious and spooky.
I haven't seen the show in years.
Yeah, so I'm talking about the film, the one with Christopher Lloyd as Fester and Me and my family watched that a lot of the time, and we absolutely adored it. The humor was right up my street, and from Waking the Dead at Halloween, or just Thing and Cousin It being this adorable little fluff ball, and the scene where Fester's trying to break into the bank vault but gets grabbed. That bit always has me in hysterics. Just when he's going, he's playing with his trains, and then the children just casually see Fester going in his water tank. It's hilarious. It's hysterical. And there's so many.
You know, Callum, I haven't seen the movie, but I think you just sold me on it.
Yeah.
Great, you have not seen the.
It's a really good adaptation of the show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like I think out of all the adaptations that came after this show, I think that the first and the second movie with the same cast, I think was the versions that paid the best homage to the show.
The second movie, I'm sorry. The second movie, I just like the part where Wednesday is in that summer camp. That for me was just the whole movie.
Yeah, there were so many other scenes, and Gomez and Morticia to this day remain the ultimate odd couple. They have some of the best liners. They are insanely in love with each other. They are insanely.
They're a legitimately good couple. They're just so happy to be around each other.
Yeah, there's a liner where she wakes up in the morning and she said, "Last night you were a vicious monster. You frightened me. Do it again."
Hey guys, I'll hop back on the call. I just missed a call from somebody. I'll be right back.
Right. Okay.
We'll see you in a minute. Callum, what is yours? Oh wait, we had to bookend it. The Addams Family.
So I just also want to mention I'm looking forward to the animated adaptation, which
it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
In my opinion, yeah. Okay, back to White Ron.
Okay, go ahead, White Ron.
White Ron, what is your favorite Halloween movie that's not horror related? Yeah, mine too.
A Headless Horseman.
Yeah.
Wait, the animated or the live action? I'm sorry, but I have to know which.
I also wanted to mention another horror movie. I wanted to mention Corpse Bride by Tim Burton.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was a great stop motion / CGI movie, and it's definitely got Tim. Yeah.
You're gonna make me be controversial.
You don't like Corpse Bride?
I didn't like it.
Now, so you're gonna have to fight because Corpse Bride made me bawl my eyes out.
Here's the thing. I remember watching it, and here's the thing, and this is why. Once again, your experience with the movie matters. I watched Corpse Bride, and I was like, that was fine. I really liked it. And then I watched Nightmare Before Christmas, and one is better.
I mean, yeah, sure. I just wanted
just because the movie's better than what another one doesn't make it better.
I know, but it was like I just watched Corpse Bride, and then here's Nightmare Before Christmas to just shade all over it.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, Dark Knight is much better than Tim Burton's Batman, yet I still love Tim Burton's Batman.
I know, but you don't hear anybody talk about Batman Begins nearly as much as Dark Knight's Batman, do you?
But people still love Batman Begins.
Anyway,
it's just Dark Knight happens to be better.
Okay, look, I was trying to get off it easy by complimenting
Corpse Bride.
Nightmare Before Christmas, but I'm not a big fan of Corpse Bride. You can talk about Corpse Bride, Callum. Just let me finish. I'm just not a big fan of it. I thought it was fine. I love that other people love it. I didn't love it. I thought it was fine.
All right, zip it.
Go ahead, Callum.
Zip it.
So the Corpse Bride is quite a fascinating story, but with Johnny Depp, of course, plays this man who's having struggles with his wedding vows, and then he accidentally marries this, corpse bride. And he goes into this really colorful underworld, purgatory underworld, and it's really fascinating how the people who are alive are in this dull, monochrome world, but then the people in purgatory anticipating heaven and etc. are in this colorful place because they're free from suffering and that sort of thing. And there's some wonderful gags, such as that weird man who splits himself in two. There's one joke like, "Would you like a drink?" "Oh, no, only a half, please." And he just splits himself in two. And they do the gag again when the villain is fighting off the good guy. He misses and he hits that same guy like. There's some good catchy songs in there too, and the tragic backstories, and Tim Burton. You gotta love Tim Burton's style and presentation. It's definitively Tim Burton. There's no one else like him. Yeah. And there's some brilliant scenes.
People that during that time tried to be like him.
Yeah. And get some good scenes with Helena Bonham Carter as the corpse bride, and it can be quite heartbreaking. Get some good drama in there, quite spooky setting, and there's some scary fates and some beautiful scenes like butterflies transitioning into the afterlife in heaven, and it's a great film. And I remember watching it, and also I would like to bring up the fact that that dog that they have may or may not be the same dog in Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, I could have debunked that whole theory for you, but I'm not going to do that.
Thanks, Darth Potter.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. I want to remain your friend.
Let him believe the delusion, Will.
Yeah.
Don't open his eyes when they're so closed shut. The tighter his eyes close, Will, the more pain he'll feel when you pull him from the void.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Will, with your pick. And by the way, you go ahead. Then I have a joke to make when you're done.
Okay. I will keep that in mind. So there's a couple things that come to mind. First one is if we weren't just talking about movies or talking like in general, probably my favorite thing ever related to Halloween that is not horror related is the Haunted Mansion ride at Disney World, Disneyland. Not the movie. The movie can go to hell.
Dude, you don't bring rides into this because we'll have a 2-hour conversation.
No, but I'm just saying the Haunted Mansion ride at Disney World and Disneyland is a fucking masterpiece that completely negates the stereotype that theme park rides are just mindless trash, and that's all I'm going to say. But anyway, going to actual movies, I would have to say that my favorite movie thing, because I chose not to do Nightmare Before Christmas, my favorite thing that is slightly even related to Halloween, still Tim Burton, is probably Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that is easily my first choice. That movie had such a strong impact on me, and it definitely felt like Tim Burton's. Yeah.
Sorry, that soundtrack is stuck in my head till I die.
God bless you, Danny Elfman. God bless you.
But go on, Will.
Yeah. But if we're talking about because Edward Scissorhands is only really Halloween that has some classic gothic aspects. The fact that it has that creepy castle, and Edward himself is practically something of an old German expressionist horror film from the 1920s. Those are really the only Halloween-y things it has about it. If we're talking straight up just Halloween-ness, then my favorite non-horror thing has to be It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Oh, okay.
Somehow I thought someone was going to bring Charlie Brown. I thought it was going to be Mel.
Me, my sister, and my cousin grew up loving the Peanuts, and we actually, my cousins were just over for the weekend, and we watched The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. It still holds up. It is still legitimately funny, and even has some sort of deeper aspects to it regarding Linus's sort of blind faith in the Great Pumpkin and everything. And I'm sorry, how could you just not love the old I Gotta Rock? How could you just not laugh at that?
Classic line. I mean, I agree. I watch I don't think I watch it every year, but there was a solid amount of time where I did watch it every year. So I definitely agree. It's very iconic to the season.
Oh yeah.
And also, I Gotta Rock is definitely one of the best jokes ever made.
I Gotta Rock.
I gotta rock.
I Gotta
I'm back,
Rock.
Yeah. Yep.
So
By the way,
you guys are gonna make me do it, aren't you? You guys are gonna make me do it.
Hold on, Melissa. First, if you should know, while you were gone, Neil was trash talking Corpse Bride.
Fuck you.
Okay, thanks. I'm glad that was fast. No, it's okay. It's okay.
You're not
No, it's okay. It's okay. The internet will get me later. But I'm just gonna say it. Are none of us gonna bring up Hocus Pocus?
I never actually.
We're just gonna let that go.
I never saw Hocus Pocus.
I think Hocus Pocus is like, it's a great icon of the Halloween season. It's a cult classic that just grew over time. But at the same time now, I think it suffers from the same thing as like Nightmare Before Christmas did. It's overdone. It's overplayed. And unfortunately, I can't watch like a scene from it in the beginning anymore. So I have to like skip the execution like entirely because yeah. But my experience with it was actually very recent, and actually, Mel, I think you would like to hear about this. So you know how AMC, whenever you're in the movie theater, is always like, we're gonna do a re-release of this old movie, and we're gonna show it in the big screen again. They did that with Hocus Pocus, and that was my first viewing of it. So as like a 19-year-old, like a 20-year-old dude, I went in there and watched Hocus Pocus. I was like the only one in the theater. Nice. And first of all, you remember how old movies have, like, it's hard to describe, but that weird badness on it? Like, you know it if you watch VHS, but the occasional, like, screw up where you see, like, a white line or something. Yeah.
I saw that for the first time in so many years while watching Hocus Pocus. And I gotta say, it made me so nostalgic. I was like, oh, this is like when I used to watch VHSs. And
a nostalgic spell on you.
I was in. Gone. So gone. I love Hocus Pocus. I know it's one of those movies, but it's my big exception where I'm like, yeah, I know it's overplayed, but let me have Hocus Pocus.
Right.
I know it's not exactly a good movie, but let me have Hocus Pocus.
It's like a drug. It's not good for you.
Well, and I'm not saying it's not a good movie. I think it's, because I watched it for the first time once again on the Disney Channel. Back when the Disney Channel, my personal opinion, was still the Disney Channel, and it was still good. And I've always had a love for it. Unfortunately, just because of like certain events, I can't watch certain scenes anymore, which kind of takes away from the nostalgia. Being like, I grew up with this. Like, I love the movie so much that my dad went out of his way to buy me a copy when VHS. It was right before the DVD craze, and he bought a copy for me on VHS. And we used to have a van that had a VHS player in it. And it was one of the first cars that actually had a TV in the back where you can distract your kids. And my older brother, unfortunately, put it in the wrong way, and it was forever stuck and damaged, and it broke my little heart.
Aww.
I'm not going to repeat, out of all the VHS movies, it had to be that one. And of course, like, my brother has a reputation for some of why we don't have a lot of our VHSs back at my parents' house anymore, whether it is he ruined them, threw them away, or just gave them away because he didn't understand the concept that it's my parents' property. But I do have an esteem for it. I do think it's a good movie. Unfortunately, it's just like it's overhyped, or it's just, I mean, I'm not saying that as in it's a bad movie. It's just, it all of a sudden like just flew into this, phenomenon that I'm just being like, hey guys, There's other Halloween movies that are just as good as Nightmare Before Christmas, that are just as good as Hocus Pocus. Let them shine.
Yeah.
I'd definitely say Monster House is better.
Yeah.
If that means
Hocus
anything.
Pocus had that Princess Bride effect of growing a cult following over time, and people just watching it every single year and just enjoying it. And yeah, I can definitely see that in Hocus Pocus. It's a fun movie, and it's very 90s cheesy, but it's got such funny moments, heartfelt moments, and all sort of moments that you love associated with Halloween. Yeah.
I've never seen Hocus Pocus, so I don't have anything to say.
It's okay, Will. It's okay. I think we're done with your topic, Will. Good job. Everybody clap. Will did a topic.
Yay!
Now that we're done with
Hey, Will.
I think
Will.
I drink more cookies. I'm
Hey,
really
Will.
thirsty.
Hey,
I'll
Will,
be
I'm not clapping.
Yeah.
Chris has just said, I flipping hate Hocus Pocus.
Real quick, be right back.
Chris, looks like we have to watch a movie together. Another one before Lord of the Rings, the last one.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on. We'll tell Will what the new topic is when he gets back. Callum, would you like to do your topic? Also, I think we are going to go ahead and do one topic each, just because if not, the episode will be like 5 hours.
Chris has said, it makes me physically angry to see Hocus Pocus.
Yep.
But Chris, let's watch Hocus Pocus together and be friends. One of us. One of us. One of us. Okay. Let's.
Anyway, let's not anger Chris any longer. So originally, I thought we were going to do two topics.
I will.
Go
ahead, Callum. Do one. Pick one.
Yeah. I'll do this other topic another time. But for the time being, because this film is literally coming out tomorrow, I might as well bring up the Joker movie. Because my goodness.
Ha.
It's a comedy. Yeah, I am so hyped for this film. I'm looking forward to it. I don't care about the critiques. I want to watch it. It's a standalone movie. Joaquin Phoenix looks like he's giving the performance of a lifetime. And it's a standalone movie. It's going to delve into the humanity or the tragedy of this character. I'm looking forward to seeing it. What do you guys think?
Yeah. You think it's standalone, but you're going to watch that movie, and then guess what? The Flash is going to show up. Yeah, you'll just be sitting there, and then Joker, Arthur Penn, or whatever his name is, Arthur Flick? I don't know.
Arthur.
His name is Arthur.
Yeah.
Arthur's just going to like pull out his phone and be like, hey, family member who lives in Central City, I'm about to do some crime. And then the Flash, Barry Allen, is going to show up, kick his ass, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, but then we'd expect the Jared Leto Joker to push in and say, hey, this is my
That's the after credits scene. Secretly, Jared Leto's Joker is the real Joker, and that's the twist ending. It's like, just kidding, we're still doing this.
Neil, leave. This is a standalone movie.
No.
Don't even.
Don't let me go. Don't let me go. All right, go ahead, Callum. What's your topic?
Yeah.
Wait, I thought
this is the topic. The Joker is the topic. So I wanted to mention...
Oh, we're just supposed to talk about Joker?
Yeah, the Joaquin Phoenix version, which is coming out tomorrow, because it's relevant.
Okay. I got things to say. I got some controversial opinions.
You don't like it?
Go ahead.
No, I think it looks fine. And that's my controversial opinion. It seems everybody either really hates this movie or really loves it. There are people who are like, no, this movie is dangerous. It's promoting violence. And there are people like, no, this movie is a masterpiece. It's going to be the best thing in the world. And here I am like, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
It looks fine. Like, okay, hear me out. I know, like, everybody's like, oh, it's its own continuity. That's a good thing. I'm sorry, but I like connected continuity. I love it when we get these little things where it's like, Tony Stark in Iron Man 2, where he's like, hey, look up Project Goliath. And then years down the line, Goliath shows up in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Right.
I love stuff like that, where the guy is reaching for a gun to shoot Thor, but instead of taking a gun, he grabs a bow and it's Hawkeye. That's cool. All of that is really cool. And when everyone's like, oh, well, Joker's its own thing, I'm like, okay, that's fine, but I'm so used to this connected stuff, and I really like this connected stuff. Where it's like, that's a turn-off.
Break.
Right.
I understand that, and I'm okay with it. But also, I like... Okay, here's the thing. The Joker has never had an origin that's concrete. This is a new one. This is its own continuity, and I'm okay with that. But I'm sorry, one thing I can't get past is if this is the actual Joker. If Arthur Fleck is the real Joker, I do not like that Bruce Wayne is a kid in this movie. I'm sorry, I will not waver on this. Batman is supposed to fight the Joker. I don't like the idea of Joker killing his parents. Everyone's opinion is valid, but this is mine.
You do realize, I respect your opinion, but you do realize that just like Into the Spider-Verse, there's so many iterations of Batman. There's a Lego version, there's various other versions, like the Tim Burton version, there's the Christopher Nolan version. Think about it. Those were independent stories.
I understand that, and I agree that there are different versions, and I still have those versions. But at the same time, I'm judging this version on what I desire from a Joker movie. And honestly, what I would love to see is the movies haven't done yet. The Red Hood origin.
More references. Give me more. Give me.
Look, I like comic book references. I'm not demanding that. But if you're gonna do a Joker origin story, God! You're being mean to me. You're bullying me.
Alan, let him finish his opinion.
Yeah. Okay, but actually, my whole thing is, I want to see the Red Hood origin story. I want to see that happen. And Joaquin Phoenix is such a good casting where I'm like, I guess this is how I feel. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're doing your own Joker thing, and that's fine, but you have such a great actor. I wish you did something like what I'm used to. And I know that's the debate of, well, shouldn't we get something new? And I'm like, yeah, but this is still a character that's established. If you're going to do something completely new, get a new character.
Me and Darth Potter, as well as some other friends of Stardust, have actually been talking about people's complaints about, oh, there's nothing new. But then they ignore the new stuff. Would you like to explain that, Darth Potter?
Exactly. And I actually think I did that a bit earlier in the video. It's like, people are always complaining like, oh, Hollywood is making nothing but sequels and remakes. No, those are the movies that are getting the big budgets. There are still movies coming out of Hollywood that are creative, that are doing new and original things. You're just not seeing them, you fucking ass hypocrites.
Hey!
How? I'm not talking about you, Neil. I'm talking about certain people who keep complaining that there's nothing original in Hollywood anymore, yet the only movies they ever going to go see are the Marvel movies or the Star Wars movies or any movie that has some sort of like nostalgic character or property tied to it, but they don't watch like anything like from like A24 or any like foreign films or any films coming out from like the big studios that actually are trying something new and original. Those are not the movies that make money. The ones that do make money are the ones that are sequels or remakes of pre-existing movies.
All right. I'll give you that at least Joker seems to be one of those like new ideas that is going to get a lot of attention.
And the thing about Joker
for me specifically, just to finish my thoughts, for me specifically, that's not necessarily what I want with an established character that has so much lore behind it. Callum, please. Okay, listen. I'm not obsessed with continuity. I know I said I would like to see more continuity, but hear me out. If you want to do a completely separate from the DCEU origin to the Joker movie, I'm okay with that. but I want to see the origin of the Joker. I don't want to see this new thing. And you know what? Maybe I'll eat my words. Maybe I'll love it. But I personally want to see the Joker's origin. And if you want to mix it in with this new stuff, like make him a mental health patient. Make him have these problems with the laughter. That idea of him laughing involuntary is genius to me.
Yeah, I was going to.
But at the same time, I just think that all these good ideas are going into something that personally I would have preferred to go into something else. So that's my views.
Well,
if it's good, I'll sing it from the heavens. But from what I've seen,
like
I'm neutral.
I don't like this new thing. I'm old, man. Chris,
you crazy fucking kids with your Joker movie? Back in my day, he fell into acid.
Is our Joker.
Batman knocked him into acid.
Okay.
He was wearing a hood.
Okay. So I think I got the vibe with what you're saying, Neil.
Mm-hmm.
But now to kind of transition from your opinions to mine, if that's okay with you, Will, I'm totally fine if you're wanting to go first since you're the guest and all that about your personal opinion about it. That's if you want to. But I do have something that kind of blends with what Will just said and what you've been saying about the Joker.
Go ahead, Mel. Sweet darling, I'm apparently old as shit. I'll just go in a corner and die. You enjoy your Joker movie of today. I'll be the person of yesterday. Go ahead, man.
I don't know whether to feel offended or not because I'm pretty sure I'm the oldest person of the group. Anyway.
No, Mel, I'm 57. I've been lying this whole time. Chris called me out, and I'm sorry.
Well,
once again, I'm gonna go in a corner and die. You just talk about your Joker. I'll just go die. I'll turn to dust again. See you.
If it's any consolation, you look well for a 57-year-old. You look,
Oh, those are old photos, Mel. I'm actually 87. I'm an old dude. I'm creepy.
Poor Mel's trying to say something.
Go ahead, Mel.
Anyway, so I see what you mean, but I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate like I always do. So Will has a huge point, and I think the biggest problem with people bitching, the biggest example I could think of was Mother in 2017.
Yes.
It was something that we've heard before, but it was changed. It was refreshed, being we've all heard, the creation of the world. We all heard the, Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, Jesus Christ, and they were able to make it in such a unique way. But yet it was a controversial movie, and people were bitching about it, being oh, it's too violent, it's too this, it's too that. And I was but you're the same motherfuckers who complain about there being a once again a new Carrie coming out.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. And to kind of play on yours, I get what you mean that you like continuity. But here's the thing about the Joker that makes sense. If people actually know their history, is that Joker technically doesn't have an origin story because of the fact he lies about it every time. It's been that way since the dawn of comic books. So in my personal opinion, when I heard that, actually before I saw the trailer, when I first heard about there was going to be a Joker movie, I did roll my eyes, but this is only for the one reason why. I think the Joker is too glorified of a villain. I mean, this guy's a literal psychopath. Not saying that I don't like him as a villain, but he's just overly glorified, especially with the, Joker X Harley thing. And it's just you really want a relationship like that?
Started on that.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That's a whole can of worms. I have opinions on that too.
I think we all do.
Different episode. We'll come back to this. Another episode, another day.
Hey, it's just an example of what I mean about his character overall being he used to be my second favorite DC villain, or at least Batman villain of all time. He's now bumped down to a good third or fourth. because he's overly done and he's overly glorified, I mostly blame the fans for that.
Yeah.
But I view this as being like he has so many different origin stories that you don't know are real in different universes, and some are considered canon, some are not. Some I like, some I did not like, et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of view this as being like, this is just another version of his quote unquote origin story, because when I saw the trailer, I wasn't against like Joaquin Phoenix being the Joker at all once I saw it. At first I was a little bit skeptical because like I haven't seen you in a hot minute. What makes you think? And then I saw the, teaser trailer and I was like, okay, you caught my entry, because he definitely is leaning more towards the Heath Ledger's version. God rest his soul.
Yes.
And that's the vibes I got. And then watching the trailers more, it's like, I'm intrigued. The only thing I'm going to be pissed at is if people say that this is now the official origin story, being like, no, that is not how the Joker is. He lies about his origins like a motherfucker. Or he's so deranged that he doesn't know what his past is. Like, we saw glimpses of that in the past, like, the Red Helmet. Nobody knows that's actually the true story of how he became a Joker.
Killing joke.
Yeah. Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Mel has just pointed out to why this is bugging me also a little more. Thank you, Mel, because you made me realize something I didn't realize.
Uh-oh.
I don't think the Joker should have an origin. And I think I agree with that, because, ladies and gentlemen, it took us years to get anything concrete about the Joker's origin that is confirmed. The only thing currently confirmed in the comic books is that apparently there were 3 different Jokers. Well, that's the only thing confirmed.
But I don't know what this guy
That's another can of worms. We don't have to touch on it. It's just a footnote. I think the idea is that I like what I'm seeing in this Joker movie. But I think I said it earlier. I think you could tell this same story without putting the name Joker on it.
You really can.
That's my view. Mel, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you. You inspired me.
Well, I'm glad that's kind of one of the reasons why I got on Stardust, is to inspire people and get them to have thoughts of their own instead of being cheap. So
I'm not a shep.
I said sheep.
A shep. I have a speech impediment.
Anyway, but also to plan on Will's thing is that I don't want there to be overly hatred for this, because this is exactly what people have wanted, and unfortunately he does have a point, being like the big movies are the generic ones. Like, I personally, for example, don't see the love for the new It, but I understand it from a general audience perspective. Those are the movies that get the views, unfortunately, because people are simple-minded when it comes to their movies. I'm not saying that as a bad thing at all, because movies are meant to be that escape. But that's where it leads to the conundrum of, when people do become, unfortunately, hypocrites about it and being like, hey, why are we seeing the same shit? And so Joker could possibly be that one movie that people can finally be like, hey, you got what you wanted. This is what you get. But I also have a fear, too, that it's either going to disrupt certain things in any universe, because, like I said, there's nothing full concrete about Joker at all. Like what you said, the only thing that was confirmed is that there has been more than one. That's it. Otherwise, his origin story should never be revealed.
More than one. That justifies the Walking Phoenix version and the Heath Ledger version.
Well, I'm just in the comic books, mind you, because like any other representation before has been like he's been the same guy through different versions in movies and in some television shows. But I'm intrigued to see it. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, because everybody knows I just got out of a situation broker than a joke. Want to pay for my ticket? I'm all for it. Don't have to, not a requirement. But I am afraid that they are going to say that this is the official Joker origin, and I will be upset. Despite the fact he's not my favorite Batman villain anymore, or at least not number one, he's at least 3 or 4. And I do want to see like a new reversion of it. But I also too am afraid of how the fans are going to be. Because if they slightly bitch about it and it turns out, in my opinion, to be decent, it's just like, you asked for it. We got the same problem with Mother and other movies. Like, and I do believe that people need to start, opening up their eyes a little bit and being like, hey, it's not just Disney that's producing this shit. It's not just Universal. There's also too, what he was playing on with before, there's also 2 independent filmmakers who, if they're given at least like half of what big Hollywood producers get for their movies, they'd dish out like 10 movies right off the bat. And maybe this might be an encouragement for people to be like, hey, there's more stuff out there. It's not just the same MCU remake by remake every single month.
You just got to remember that you don't need to worry about the Joker's past. To quote the Joker from The Killing Joke,
something like that happened to me, you know. I'm not exactly sure what it was. Sometimes I remember it one way, sometimes another. If I'm going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice.
I love you, Callum, but John still is the best Joker impersonator that we've ever had on the show.
Okay, I'm keeping my voice down. Yeah, so
Mel, why so serious?
Why?
Oh, I see. What is your opinion about the joke?
When the chips are down, these.
Okay, everybody calm down. Cal, what's your But actually, Will, it's your turn.
Okay.
What is you?
Hey, boy, do I have thoughts on this movie. Okay, so kind of like Neil. In some ways, I do wish this was connected at least to the DCU, but not for the same passionate reasons that Neil has. More so because I want Jared Leto just out of that universe ASAP. Gladly take Joaquin Phoenix over him. And the weird thing is, I've never been that big a Joaquin Phoenix fan. I mean, I've always appreciated him. He was just never one of my favorites by any stretch. He looks so good in this role. And honestly, the big thing that's kind of got me concerned right now is the fan base. Because like Neil was saying, there's people on the opposite extremes, which concerning one, like, why in 2019 are people complaining about our minds being corrupted by violence? We've been talking about this shit since the 30s, when the Hays Code, or was the Hays Code with the Hays Code was with movies. I'm thinking the comic code of 30. The Hays Code was with movies, and in the early 30s, people were concerned about movies that would have corrupted us with their depictions of violence, and that's why the rating system. You go back and watch a lot of those movies in the early 30s; they weren't really that bad compared to today. And then we had the 70s and its wave of fucked upness. Which, if we can make it out of the 70s, because I don't know if people remember, but the 70s had really fucked up movies, and we still haven't gone to hell in a handbasket yet. So if we can survive the 70s and not being corrupted, I think we're fine, guys. But the other
hell in the handbasket?
You never heard that phrase before? Going to hell in a handbasket?
No, is that a purse? Is that Satan's purse?
It's a term of phrase, pretty much meaning being like, hey, if I am going to hell, I might as well, jump first in the line, or being like, hey, I'm going to hell in a handbasket.
Hi, kids. This is Neil
It's a metaphor.
That's how you unintentionally interrupt an entire episode. Whether it's pointing out a phrase you've never heard before, or accidentally saying the word sheep wrong because of your stupid speech impediment.
Okay.
But I find that, with your thing, well, I find that intriguing because I haven't heard that argument, and that actually still surprises. It still surprises me because it kind of leads on to what you're saying. Different generations of humanity have had their own different ideals and versions of being scared that the children will be corrupted through, the biggest ones are sex and violence. Like,
That's why they
look
have
back,
the rating system.
there's historians like, and I'm still surprised people still have that mentality because it's been disproven over and over again that watching violence or playing stuff that has violence corrupts people into violence. It's been disproven over and over and over again. So
I get what you're saying, Mel. Mel, I get what you're saying. So what you're saying, Mel, hold on. What Mel is saying is that it seems today that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV.
Sex on TV. Nice.
Pretty
much.
I could have lived without the Family Guy reference.
Where are those good old-fashioned values? Okay. We'll continue.
I don't know about you, but I'm really happy that Tom Holland's back in the MCU.
Whoever's doing that is too eerily accurate.
I think it's Will.
That was me.
Well,
you just need to have like that whistle.
You have.
And you're pretty much set.
Yeah, that's the one.
You know what? Now that I think about it, hold on. That joke is freaking genius. Imagine we might have just created a meme, guys. No, hear me out. Imagine. Okay, one side. It's 6 images all together, side by side. So one is of Tobey Maguire, and then it's Herbert the pervert looking at him and just not into it. The second one is Andrew Garfield, and he's looking at him a little more into it. And then we get to Tom Holland, and his jaw like drops.
Oh my god!
Make that a meme! Go internet! Fly, my pretties, fly!
Oh god, what have I created?
Anyway,
yeah,
I blame you.
Going back to DC now. Okay, so on the other side of the coin, we have the hardcore fan base, which, like, even from the trailers alone, we're like, oh yeah, this movie's gonna be a masterpiece, which, I mean, okay, I know we talk a lot about, like, in general on the internet, we talk about a lot, like, when people say a movie's gonna be bad, we shouldn't make that assumption first since we haven't seen it. If we're going to go by that logic, then by the same token, we shouldn't immediately think a movie is good before it even comes out. And I really do feel sorry for DC fans because, I really do sympathize with them because they haven't been getting, thankfully now we're getting like Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam. In recent years, they have not been having very good, representation on the big screen. Everyone thinks they suck compared to Marvel. So I understand why they're so passionate and why they get so angry. I really can't blame them for that because it's like they are among the few people who realize just how many great characters and great stories that DC has that the general public just doesn't really know about. Like, even as someone who's always been more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy, that's always frustrated me. So I can't imagine what it's like to be like, a hardcore DC fan and have that. But man, they just so freaking annoying about it. It's just.
I think what DC needs to do is just to stop imitating Marvel and just be DC, like they're doing with this Joker movie.
I don't know. Shazam was pretty good.
Here's my thing to kind of play on with Will is just like I've always been like a tie between Marvel and DC, at least in my opinion. Like comic books, when it comes to them, they're pretty even Steven, being like they've had their moments where they weren't so good, and then they've had their moments where they were fantastic. When it comes to like animated stuff, I think that DC that's always been their strong suit, except for they have to step their game up with the movie Into the Spider-Verse because Marvel's been out of the game on animation for such a long time. And I think like the problem with DC movie-wise, like live action movies, because I can't say on live action TV shows at all because I haven't seen any DC properties. So I can't rule it out of who's better on that. But when it comes to movies, I think what DC falters is that they tried so hard to get out of, because both Marvel and DC and any other comic book film suffered from the early 2000s, where comic book movies were, no offense to those who like them, were trash. They were trash. They ruined Spawn. They ruined things like Spawn, movie-wise. And then they got out with the Dark Knight stuff, which I think that they did too early. They should have unleashed that kind of stuff later, in my opinion.
Dark
and
Knight
they were
and
set on
Iron
a
Man
pedestal
broke out
that
of
they
the
can't get
2000s
out
phase,
of.
yeah.
And I do agree with like Callum, where it's just like they should be doing their own thing instead of worrying about imitating Marvel. But at the same time, it's just like they're with Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Shazam out, and them being surprisingly pretty good movies, them just getting better by the second. I think DC might get its, I think it might have found its formula.
All I'm saying is Birds of Prey with the fantabulous thing with Harley Quinn looks great.
Yeah.
Okay, Callum, this was your topic.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Callum.
I'd like to dedicate my last little bit before we move on to the next topic, just to discuss Joaquin Phoenix's dedication to this role. He seems like he's giving it his all. And as Neil mentioned earlier, the involuntary laughter is a genius idea. I think this is some kind of he researched into this, and it was some kind of mental health disorder from people suffering schizophrenia or something like that, where they laugh not necessarily because something is funny, but because they're laughing in response to something very severe, just to handle the pain or something. Which is why people are giving them objects like, "What's so funny? What are you looking at?" And then you see the look in his face, like, that is genius. That you see so much heartbreak in his eyes, like, "No, I didn't mean to laugh at you. Please don't beat me up." Boom. And then they
by the way, there's one thing I really want to say real quick, and it was in response to Neil complaining about Bruce Wayne being a kid. First off, the '89 film already did that. Tim Burton already did that with Bruce Wayne being a kid while the Joker was still already a criminal.
And I didn't like that either.
Spoiled brat.
What? Because as kind of like playing on what Phil said, it kind of makes sense because that's how it's always linked up to, because people have always had the question of, was the Joker the one responsible for killing his parents? So the timeline makes sense, but also leaves that open-ended. What is his origin? You'll never know. You'll never know if he was the one who pulled the trigger and sealed Bruce's fate. So it made sense, especially if you go back to like earlier comic books. That's how they've always played it. It's that that's an open possibility.
That movie, Tim Burton was inspired by The Killing Joke. See, his name's right here.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, it's not like the Joker's just going to be defeated here. Obviously, Bruce Wayne's going to grow up and he's going to become Batman, and
Also,
I'm sorry, Callum. There's another thing I really wanted to say. Just adding on to what Mel said about the Joker being overrated. Joker actually is my favorite DC villain, and he's my second favorite comic book villain. Period. Right behind Magneto from the X-Men. But even then, it's like, can't we just give other Batman villains a chance? Like, I like to see the Penguin again for one. I like to see.
I know Mel would love to see Mr. Freeze.
I'm just saying. I'm just asking the shit out of a Bane movie. I would watch a Bane movie. He's not even my favorite, but I'd watch a Bane movie.
I'd watch a Bane movie.
No, the only reason I would want to see a Bane movie is if they finally do him fucking right, because they can't seem to fucking do him right.
I was wondering who would moan first.
Just cast a Mexican.
No, fuck.
Dude, didn't you like Tom Hardy?
No, he's Brazilian.
Wait, is he not Mexican? Am I a racist? He just is up as a luchador. Am I a racist?
I thought he was from the Caribbean.
Guys, I think I'm a racist.
You must be a Trump supporter.
Politics into this, yes.
Okay, moving on.
You're getting
Jesus.
You're getting the touchy subjects. Why are you getting the hate on me now?
I'm not bringing any hate.
So anyway, going back to Joaquin Phoenix.
Just give me a second. My laptop's on battery. Gonna get my charger real quick.
Yeah.
Go
and,
get your charger well.
when I look at his performance, I think, is he method acting a bit like Christian Bale did with certain roles? Is he making himself skinny on purpose? Because he looks really bony. And I'm serious. He's giving it his all with this one, and you can see him deteriorate. And I think they're going to pull off something like a Paradise Lost on us, and just see some sympathy for one of the worst villains, and how Joker eventually chose the worst possible path, or well, Arthur in this case. And I think there's some other details, and it's got me hyped just from the trailers alone. I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. And you know what? Maybe there is a plot twist where he dons the Red Hood. In fact, come to think of it,
I think that's. Go ahead.
and come to think of it, the girlfriend that he finds, that might be the wife that gets pregnant to eventually die.
Right.
Yeah, that might happen.
Wait. Are you saying that this might be a prequel origin to the Joker's?
Maybe. It may be.
Right, like I said, I think the only thing I'm worried about is if they tried saying that this is the confirmed origin story, because I don't believe Joker, out of all the villains, should have an official origin story.
This is just a different
Also,
interpretation. That's the beauty of it.
I agree. But she doesn't want this to be the scene has the ultimate.
Yeah. The character's left
like
as
the
a
definitive.
Yeah. I understand.
I'm fine with it being a different version of the origin. I'm fine with that because that's essentially what Joker is kind of like what you said, what he's the killing joke being like sometimes he doesn't remember his past and he chooses multiple choice. So I'm fine with that. As long as they don't make this canon and being like, well, you've all been asking for it, here's the official, and I'll be like, no. Especially if they're playing the sympathy route, which I don't believe Joker should be one of those villains that you should sympathize with.
Whose review I want to see of this more than any other person in the world? Ron's.
Who?
What the fuck is Ron gonna think of this? Okay, but moving on to the next topic. Mel, do you have one for us, or should I go? Because our original plan before you joined was we were just gonna do us three and then Chris.
Okay. I'll let you go first while I think about it.
Okay. Then we may cut Chris this time. Sorry, Chris. I love you.
Let Chris have a topic.
Hey, Callum, you're the one who is currently up at 2:00 in the morning. So if you want Chris to do one, it's your call. Okay. My topic is a debate.
Uh-oh.
So I was told before I wanted to do this, hey, Neil, don't do anything Marvel related or Disney related. So I have pulled one of my other great loves. We are talking about Harry Potter. I essentially have, I guess it's two things. The first one is, this one's really fast, so that's why it's two things. Which of all the Harry Potter ones do you think is the best design? And also, the proper argument is, the actual debate is, which Hogwarts house do you think is the best? And while you're at it, you might as well say which one you think you're in.
Oh, I know which one I'm in.
So, it's okay first real quick because mine's really quick and simple.
Sure, go ahead.
So before I say anything, I have to let people know now, and Eli and other people have been trying to push me with this. I am actually not that big of a Harry Potter fan, and let me explain why.
Okay.
Before people jump.
It's okay. That's okay.
So when the books first came out, I couldn't finish the first book. And I think part of the reason why was because I was at a higher reading level when I was a kid. So anything that everybody else read, I was reading other things. So I viewed it as I couldn't get into it. I couldn't get into the story. I had kind of this mentality back then of being like, if I'm reading at a higher level, why should I dumb it down? Of course, now that I realize well, that's kind of ignorant of me to think now. And I've never been able to have the chance of picking up a book since. The movies, though, are a different story because the first time I saw the movies was in middle school when the first one was out in theaters. And at least for the first two, that was like our year movie field trip, always at the beginning of the year. And the two Harry Potters came out at that time. Loved the first two. Absolutely loved it. But then, of course, like the original actor for Dumbledore passed away after the second film.
R.I.P. Richard Harris.
And I remembered watching this one. I just remembered I didn't like it anymore. And then I've only been able to watch up to 4. And then pretty much that's it. And have not caught up with, the fan base at all. And also, too, the Harry Potter fan base kind of scares me.
Yeah,
I am not going to lie, because you have dedicated to a fault, being like, I remembered even back then that it used to be, Slytherin or Gryffindor were the two main houses and fuck all. And then Fantastic Beasts came out, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing being like, wait, people like Hufflepuff now? I remembered when
the whole joke was Hufflepuff sucks.
Right, but so in my personal opinion, I have no opinion because I did not get into the franchise as much. Like, I own maybe 2 shirts of Harry Potter, but that was because they were given to me as gifts, and I don't wear them a lot because I always get the questions of which house are you, which is your favorite movie, which is your favorite book. I have to sit there and being like, I don't know what my house is. I don't know which, book's my favorite. I don't know which movie's my favorite because I haven't, read or passed anything. So my opinion's null and void.
So you are volunteering to be the judge, Mel. You are volunteering to be the judge then of the debate. And since you have no opinion, you are probably the most qualified to be the judge.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Will.
Okay, so in regards to the wands, I'm not really that type of fan that I know, I have friends who play video games, and one of the things they like to do, they like to check out all the different costumes they can make their characters wear. I'm not that type of they're all nicely designed and everything, but the wands I never really paid much attention to. When I go to Universal Studios and I go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, the only reason why I even know whose wand is whose when I'm looking at the merchandise is because they're labeled whose wand or whose. And I can kind of recognize them, oh yeah, that's right. But I never really paid much attention to the wand's design. That said, though, there is one wizard's wand who I always thought was the coolest, and that was Lucius Malfoy, the father of Draco Malfoy, and that's only because he had his wand in a cane, and he pulled his wand out of his cane like he was unsheathing a sword, which I thought was just the coolest thing ever. So I always thought, you know what, if I ever become a wizard and I get a wand, I want to have that. I want to be able to do that. So that is my entire reasoning for why I think that is the coolest wand design. Pretty much.
That's definitely a good pick.
And what house are
Callum,
you in?
You say your favorite wand design, then I'll say mine, then we can do the houses. Because the wand designs won't take long.
Okay, so I'll keep mine very brief. Luna Lovegood, I absolutely adore her, and I think her fluorescent wand is quite pretty and very smooth, very sleek, and that's all I have to say.
Don't mind me just casually Googling Luna Lovegood wand.
Yeah.
It looks like a tulip. It's so cute.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been calling myself Darth. I don't even know what Luna Lovegood's wand looks like.
So growing up, there were 2 wands where I was all like, if I ever go to Universal Studios, I'm buying these. And I bought one of them. I'll say which one, but the first one I'll talk about is Alistair Mad Eye Moody's wand. I don't know why.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why more people don't talk about this. It looks dope. It's got a little ball on the end. It's got this tree thing going on. It's got a ring in it. It's cool. And also it looks kind of crazy, which of course, Mad Eye Moody, hello. But watching the movies, there was ever only one time where I was like looking into my mom as a little kid, and I was like, Mom, I want that. And it was at that scene back in Chamber of Secrets where Lucius Malfoy pulls his wand out of his cane and points it at Harry, and yes, I own that one. I bought it for almost $200.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
No, it's fine. That was hell to get back on the airplane. But yeah, we have shared our opinions. Now, here's the thing. We all need to argue for different things, so I'm going to pick my answer for House first. I pick Ravenclaw.
All right.
And I guess I'll say why. Because I feel like everyone would compete for that. I think Ravenclaw, like for me, I've always personally been a Ravenclaw. Like, I know everyone's like, oh, I'm a Ravenclaw because I'm smart. No, guys, I'm the dumbest idiot in the world. But the reason I think I'm a Ravenclaw is because the thing everybody ignores is creativity. And I have this very... Well, obviously, I'm a creative fellow. If you don't know that, watch my streams and listen to a bit of my album. But I won't talk about my album. Callum doesn't like it when I do it.
Thank you.
But I remember when I first took the Pottermore test, which is the test J.K. Rowling did. I wanted to be Slytherin. So I took it 5 times, and each time I got Ravenclaw and was... But then later in life, I accepted it. I am a Ravenclaw. I'm hanging in with Luna Lovegood. And I do think that Ravenclaw is the best house. I know that Gryffindor, Slytherin, but Frank, Ravenclaw is the one that I feel like if I were in Hogwarts, that's where I'd want to be.
Yeah.
All right. Now you guys pick yours.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm in sort of an...
I should also mention that...
Will, you go first.
Sorry, I was going to mention that Neville Longbottom is kind of an unorthodox Gryffindor, so there you go.
He really is.
Yeah, he is. Well, that just goes to prove it, that the Sorting Hat knows more than you do.
Yeah. Yeah, he always had like the seeds of courage planted in that. We saw that in the Sorcerer's Stone when he stood up to his friends. But then once he gets to Deathly Hallows, it's like, yep, he always belonged in Gryffindor to be sure.
That boy went through an arc.
Okay, well.
He did.
Well.
Okay, so I have a couple contradictory thoughts because I guess I myself am kind of a Ravenclaw, which is kind of because I took like a bazillion different house tests before I took Pottermore. And I always got Hufflepuff. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Hufflepuff. And I really would like to say that I am Hufflepuff just because, poor Hufflepuff never gets any love. I just want to give Hufflepuff some love. Then I actually did take the Pottermore quiz, and I also got Ravenclaw. Which,
Bro, what are you on the inside?
Yeah.
Fuck the websites. Fuck the tests. What does your heart say, Will?
Honestly, I do believe that I honestly, I do feel I would be either a Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw. I mean, everyone says that I'm a nice guy. Like, I get along with people pretty well, so definitely that, is a good Hufflepuff quality. But I've also been told that I am very smart and very creative, so Ravenclaw, so I don't know which one I really am, to be honest. Though, objectively speaking, putting aside any and all personal biases, and it really does pain me to say this, but unfortunately it is kind of true, just the way that J.K. Rowling has kind of framed it. Gryffindor is probably the best house just because it has most of the main cast in there. J.K. Rowling is pretty biased towards Gryffindor, so I say that Gryffindor is the best house, but only because J.K. Rowling has kind of made it that way.
So that's the one you're gonna argue for. You're gonna argue for Gryffindor.
Yeah, because that's where all the main characters are. Pretty much.
I mean, that's definitely a good argument.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I think even freaking Dumbledore was a Gryffindor, I think.
I do believe Dumbledore was a Gryffindor.
Yeah.
But so was Wormtail. Remember that.
Oh, true. But then again, I mean, you know, bias can only go so far, I guess, before it's like, okay, you have to, you know, be a little fair.
Okay, Callum, what do you think you are?
I have actually taken the Pottermore test in the past, and I agree with it. I am creative. I am smart. I am a Ravenclaw.
Okay, so this is a Ravenclaw chat. Got it.
I'm just hold up. I want to make an argument. Callum,
Okay.
are you sure you're not a Hufflepuff? I'm not insulting you in any way. It's just you strike me as a Hufflepuff.
I could ask you the same question, Neil.
Oh.
Whoa. No. I'm a Ravenclaw.
You sure you're not a Slytherin?
I mean, Mel's a Slytherin.
That's what I was going to say, actually, yeah.
That. I mean, I don't know the fandom that well, but I think Slytherins are mean.
Not all of them.
No, they're not all mean. In the books, there's a good one.
Yeah.
Like one.
There's this, in the films, he's played by Jim Broadbent, and
Slughorn's good.
Yeah, Slughorn's a good guy.
Yeah, there you go. You got one. And
was,
that makes two.
There was Merlin.
Merlin was a Slytherin?
Yep, it's canon.
I guess everybody who is a fan of the Harry Potter thing, you guys are all Ravenclaw, then?
I guess so.
I feel like some of us are varying on the Hufflepuff status. Okay, so, but who are you arguing for, Callum?
I don't know.
You have to pick someone.
I don't know.
You have to! It's a show!
Let's make it entertaining. I don't know.
Choose.
Pick one!
I don't know.
Choose or die. Choose or one will be assigned to each. He picked Hufflepuff.
Lie to us.
He picked Hufflepuff.
Oh,
I'm Ravenclaw.
Fine, I'll argue for Hufflepuff. You can have Ravenclaw. I'll take Hufflepuff. I can fucking do this.
you see what I mean by the fandom scares me? This is the example of why I'm afraid of you fuckers.
Yeah.
It's okay, I can do this.
And here's something to further solidify your point there, Mel. I actually went to Universal once during a Harry Potter weekend. Ivana Lynch, who plays Luna Lovegood, came out of like a backstage area to sign autographs. I could not move because I was completely like crushed in by people. I could not move a single muscle. We had to like take sort of like a little paper thing. We had like I don't remember what it was, like a little flyer thing, whatever, for Harry Potter. Just like pass it through the crowd, get her to sign it, or have her pass it back. So it's like, the fan base can get crazy. Although I will say about the Harry Potter.
I would crush you to meet Luna.
Yeah. I would crush you to meet Bonnie Wright, personally.
You could crush me for that.
But yeah, I will say about the Harry Potter fan base that it is not nearly as toxic as a lot of other fan bases. I will say
Star Wars.
Exactly.
But we have an argument. We have a debate now, fellas. So here are the rules of the debate. We will argue against each other for which house is the best. I have chosen Hufflepuff. Callum has Ravenclaw.
I'm choosing Gryffindor as the objective best.
Yep. We will all argue, and we'll be here tonight. Jesus Christ, I'm in for a battle. All right. If you're so sure, Will, because you said you're the best, I offer you to lead with your opening argument.
Special guest.
Okay, again, I really wish I wasn't saying that Gryffindor was the best, but the problem is J.K. Rowling does seem to be very biased toward Gryffindor. Literally, just about all the main characters are Gryffindor. Like Harry, Ron, Hermione, Neville, Ginny, all the Weasleys. They're all Gryffindor. Like the only real kind of main character I can think of that wasn't a Gryffindor is Luna. And they're the ones who do all the heroic, cool shit and everything. So that is literally my entire argument of why Gryffindor is the best, because J.K. Rowling has literally gone out of her way to make Gryffindor the best.
Okay.
Callum.
Okay, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not done. There's a little thing I forgot.
Do you have any attacks you want to do on us?
No, I'm not going to attack you guys because, trust me, I wish I could say... I really wish I could say that Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw was the best. But another thing about that is that, especially, like, if you don't, like, go out of your way to, look up more about, like, Hogwarts lifestyles or whatever, if you're just going by the books and movies like most people do, then Gryffindor is the one that, you're the most intimately familiar with. Like, you're most familiar with the Gryffindor common room and their dormitories and stuff. So, yeah, I'm only saying that Gryffindor is the best because J.K. Rowling seems to say that they're the best. Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad you're not attacking us, because me and Callum have to attack the fuck out of you to even possibly win. But that's how debates work. It's all in good fun, my man. It's all in good fun.
Want to go next,
All right,
Neil?
Callum, do you want to go first? I'll go last.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I need time to think.
Okay, fine. I suppose I've already thought this through. So, I mean, I could sum it up in 2 words. Luna Lovegood. I absolutely adore that character. She's just a little goofball, and she's smarter than she seems, and she is just adorable, and she's really smart. She really helps out the heroes, albeit she doesn't really appear until a few years later. But in the meantime, Ravenclaw does play a vital part in the lore of the series, with helping the construction, and from what I remember, they've played essential parts with defeating evil and such and such. And not to mention, creative and smart, that's right up my alley. Those are the best combination. And if you are a Ravenclaw, you get the best view in the entire Hogwarts facility.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, that is true. That is very much true. And you get Lovegood, you get some other lovable people within the Ravenclaw house. Was it Cho Chang, I think? Yeah, Cho Chang.
Yeah, Cho Chang.
Yeah.
But who else aside from those two? Like Cho Chang, Luna Lovegood, who else?
I'm trying to remember some others.
There's a guy named Terry. There's a guy named Terry. I remember him. His name is Terry.
Now, I should also know.
Terrence, the douchebag from Ravenclaw.
There's some douchebags in every house. But Darth Potter, I should note that Ravenclaw manages to do a good job of staying out of trouble, whereas Gryffindor, oh man, they're a bad reputation, getting in trouble all the time.
I have some counter arguments against that, but continue.
Well, we gotta wait till I go for your counters. Callum, are you done, my dear?
I'm done.
I don't know
now.
why I called you my dear. I did though. Did you like it?
Anyway, you go next.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the qualifications to be in a Hogwarts house. Godric Gryffindor wanted the bravest and the strongest. Salazar Slytherin wanted the most cunning and pure of blood. Rowena Ravenclaw wanted the most creative and wise. but Helena Hufflepuff. Helena Hufflepuff.
Helga.
Helga, yes, thank you, I'm dumb. Helga Hufflepuff. She said there shouldn't be qualifications for our students. Everybody you won't take, I will take. And that is what it takes to be a Hufflepuff. They say, Hufflepuffs out there, that you are not the best.
Oh,
They
thank you very
say
much.
that you are considered to be low. People mock you and call you Jigglypuff. But fun fact, there is not one evil Hufflepuff wizard. That's actually true. And there are evil Ravenclaws. Don't believe me? Gilderoy Lockhart was a Ravenclaw. There are evil Gryffindors, like Peter Pettigrew, Wormtail. Also, I think you're underestimating. You have Luna Lovegood. I have Diggory, the first boy to die in the new war against Voldemort. I have Newt Scamander.
Oh, Newt Scamander, that's right.
Fought against Grindelwald. And fun fact, he's a main character.
That's true. That is so true.
All of these days we hear about the lions, the snakes, and the eagles. Now is the time of the badger. And I gotta say, Honey Badger don't give a fuck.
Are you becoming Ron now?
I've got to say that Hufflepuffs, I am guilty of making fun of Hufflepuffs.
Okay.
But to be honest, you guys are fucking cool.
Yeah.
You ignore everything. You are kind. You are good-hearted. Poor Neville's best friend was a Hufflepuff. Whatever it was, Professor Sprout, she was a Hufflepuff.
That's right.
We are underestimating the Hufflepuffs, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to take this common joke and accept them as people.
No.
All right. I'm done with my opening argument. Will, you have some counter arguments.
Okay, first, Neil, I just want to say congratulations. That was actually a very well thought out and a very well delivered speech. I really have to give you props for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And first off, gonna sort of counter Callum's thing about, Gryffindors always getting into trouble, and in sort of a way, Neil talked about there being no evil Hufflepuffs. At least in the movies, as far as Harry, Ron, and Hermione are concerned, the only times they ever get in trouble are kind of for the right reasons. Because the reasons why they get in trouble are because they notice that there's things going wrong and they're trying to fix it, and in order to do that, they have to break a couple school rules, and they're not doing it just to be bad kids. I mean, there's, certain professors like kind of Snape or Filch in a way who kind of just write them off as bad kids, but no, they're not doing it to be malicious. They're doing it because they have no other choice, because they have to kind of bend the rules a little to be able to do the right thing, to be able, because if they didn't, if they just stayed in their beds past curfew like they're supposed to, then Quirrell would have the Sorcerer's Stone and Voldemort would have come back much earlier. The Basilisk would have killed all the Muggleborns in Hogwarts, and just all this other stuff, and Umbridge would still be in power, just all this stuff. And
Will, can I jump in here for an argument?
Go ahead.
Wasn't it the only way that Professor Quirrell was even able to get the stone because Harry was there to get it for him? So technically, if Harry didn't sneak out of bed, Voldemort would have never gotten the stone. He would have gotten caught, and we would have been done with this in one movie. I'm just saying, it seems like Harry Potter, if he just would have stayed in bed, if the Gryffindor didn't have to be the hero for once, maybe a Hufflepuff could have gone in there. and nothing would have happened.
But a Hufflepuff wouldn't have gone in there, would he? And here's the thing, though. Harry's
because they're smarter than Harry. They would have known dangerous man attacking the school. Maybe the teacher should handle that.
Yeah, but the thing is, they didn't know that there was any dangerous man. They had no idea. Harry, Ron, Hermione, there's Sunday. Just granted, they thought it was the wrong person. They thought it was Snape, but really it was Quirrell. But here's the thing. Even if Harry did not go down there, even if Quirrell and Voldemort never got the Sorcerer's Stone, they still would have you still would have had Voldemort inside of Hogwarts via a professor who everyone thinks they can trust. So, yes, if Harry had gone down there, there would have been less of an opportunity for Voldemort to get his hands on the Sorcerer's Stone, but there still would have been the fact that Quirrell still would have been around carrying Voldemort with him everywhere. So now because Harry gone there, Quirrell is dead, and Voldemort was forced to find some other way to come back. So there's that. And also, to further explain my argument, has anyone here seen or listened to the stage musical Hamilton? Just
yes, but I have no idea what that has to do with your argument.
Okay. So there's this whole conflict between Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr, because Aaron Burr, he wants to wait for it. That's his whole thing. Talk less, smile more. Don't let them know what you're against or what you're for. Whereas with Alexander Hamilton, he's all about not throwing away his shot. And you can see where Burr is coming from because, you don't want to go ahead and make rash decisions and everything. But what ends up happening is that Hamilton, because he doesn't just wait for it, because he actually takes action, he actually starts gaining power. He becomes George Washington's right-hand man. He becomes Secretary of the Treasury. He founds America's national bank system, whereas Burr, for the longest time, is just just some soldier in the Revolutionary War, just some lawyer from New York, and now Hamilton's the one who has a musical about him. So,
are you saying Alexander Hamilton is a Gryffindor?
I'm not saying he's a Gryffindor. I'm just saying that the same thing is here. Yeah, Gryffindor gets in the, but Gryffindor gets in the most trouble, but they're the ones who are taking the most action. And because they're the ones who are taking the most action, they're the ones who are igniting the most change and making the most stuff happen, whereas people don't talk about Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw as much because they don't ignite as much change. And did we just lose somebody?
I don't know. Did we? I'm still
here. I'm just listening to the debate since I'm.
Oh yeah.
Did
Callum leave? Don't say that word.
I'm sorry.
It's 2019.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, that is.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Okay, moving on from that.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
Oh, you're okay. Everyone slips.
Yeah. Oh man.
But okay. So Callum's gone, so he's disqualified. Okay, so I have to.
And he has Ravenclaw, right?
Yeah, he has Ravenclaw.
Okay, if he doesn't come back just because I'm the judge and all that, I want to be unbiased. If he doesn't come back in the chat in at least I'll say 2 minutes, since I know you two are going to be hashing it out.
Yeah.
Ravenclaw's automatically disqualified just for the sake of
Chris, just wondering, Chris, is it possible you can bleep that when you're editing that and stuff when I say that word?
Chris, you can bleep it.
Okay, good.
Okay, Dill. Good. He said flower. Oh, you got to bleep that too, Chris. Never mind. Don't bleep that. Okay. No, okay. I'm sorry. But, okay. So, Will has made his counter argument.
Yeah.
So, Will is done. He gets final thoughts at the end. But right now, in terms of arguing, he's done. So I get my counter argument.
Right.
Okay, so wow, you brought Hamilton into this. Will, Mel would know this. You wouldn't. I am the Broadway guy on this show. So you compared Gryffindor to Alexander Hamilton and Hufflepuff to Aaron Burr waiting for it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. There are plenty of Hufflepuffs that didn't wait for it. Look at Newt Scamander. Yes, his creatures got out, but he went himself and collected all of them. And then he began his plot against Grindelwald, essentially the wizard equivalent of Hitler. He took on Wizard Hitler.
He tried to prevent World War
II. Hold on,
II.
I'm still going.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay. So here's my comparison. If the Hufflepuffs are just trying to wait for it, how do we know that isn't the best option? Think about how many times Harry ran away and actually did harm. Because there were a couple. Let me remind you, he destroyed every time turner that the Ministry had, along with a ton of prophecies when they were in the Ministry. They have done some good. They saved Buckbeak. They saved Sirius. There's definitely some good stuff there. But it seems that Harry, I don't think the argument of they're the main characters, so they're the best, really stands when you look at the things that Hufflepuff can accomplish. Like, Cedric Diggory was first place to win the Triwizard Cup. And him and Harry were helping each other the whole time. Harry didn't see Cedric Diggory as a Hufflepuff, as something less. He saw him as a friend. And that's what Hufflepuffs are. They're people. There are some people who wouldn't act. There are some people that would wait for it. But Cedric Diggory was not one of those people. Newt Scamander was not one of those people. These two brave badgers. Newt Scamander fought for his cause and ended up changing the tide of a war. Cedric Diggory was the first casualty of a war. And there's no telling what came from that. Cho Chang, Ravenclaw. This was going to be part of my argument against Callum. Hello?
I'm still here.
Okay. I heard someone talking. I thought Callum came back. Cho Chang was devastated by the loss of Cedric because Hufflepuff or not, he was just as important as anyone else. He was one of the team, and his loss was felt greatly. So yeah, there aren't a lot of Hufflepuffs in the main series of Harry Potter. Like in the first 7 movies, I think Cedric was the closest we got to a main character.
Yeah.
But maybe there should have been. There should have been another Hufflepuff. Maybe we should have had more because this house has some cool ass things to it. Everyone in it is kind. And what if Neville was a Hufflepuff? He got bullied in Gryffindor. He was the lame kid. Even Harry saw him as kind of a lame kid for a while. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We have to argue which is the best house. Not who accomplished more, not who did the most. We have to argue who is the best.
Yeah.
And Hufflepuff to me is the kindest house there is. And we have some good characters, one of them that lost their life for the cause that they were pushing for. And everything we saw of him, even though he was played by Robert Pattinson, he was still such a cute man. I got to tell you, I'm excited for him to be Batman. But that's a different conversation.
10
feel
points
like
lost to Hufflepuff for you just saying that. By the way,
come on, don't give me that. But okay, so here's I'll go into my final thoughts here. we all can recognize that Gryffindor has accomplished things that are great. We can villainize Slytherin, and we can understand how they act. We can see Ravenclaw has this idea, this thing that everybody strives to be, this thing that I personally would want to be if Hogwarts was real. But in the end, we ignore Hufflepuff. Everyone says it's the worst house. And my big debate here is, why? Why is Hufflepuff the worst house? Hufflepuff is full of kind people. One of them gave their life. And you know what? I'm glad that the current main character of Fantastic Beasts is a Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
And that's my final argument. So you go into your final thoughts as well, Will.
I just like to say it again that I really do wish I was in the same boat as you, Neil. Like, everything that you're talking about, Hufflepuff, I totally agree with, and that is, like, everything that I want to represent. But, yeah, Newt Scamander and Cedric Diggory, they were two great characters who did accomplish a lot that should not go uncredited. But keep in mind, that was two characters. We also have Harry and Ron and Hermione and Neville and Ginny and frickin' Albus Dumbledore. They're all great characters, all great people, and yeah, there are definitely some dickheads in Gryffindor for sure. But for the most part, Gryffindor has done a lot of really good for the Wizarding World, I feel. And yeah, I agree with you. Hufflepuff does not deserve the reputation that it gets. It definitely deserves a lot more love. And I too am glad that we have a Hufflepuff as a main character in the Harry Potter franchise currently, especially since, again, for the longest time, I've always considered myself a Hufflepuff. But I'm sorry, apparently, just J.K. Rowling has always convinced us otherwise and stuff. Yeah.
I've poured my heart out.
Yeah, you really did.
I have nothing else to give.
Which I applaud you for, because what everything that you have said is just like perfect. And
I just defended Hufflepuff.
Honestly,
that was not an easy task.
Yeah, that is honestly probably the best defense that Hufflepuff can ever get right there. Like, I am so glad that was recorded, because that needs to be recorded, because I need to like play that clip now whenever I need to convince someone that Hufflepuff isn't just shitty.
You know what, Will? Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw? You're perfect.
Aw, thank you.
All right, Mel. We're holding hands. Tell us who won the pageant.
Oh God. So I've heard you both out, and I think, let's see, how do I describe this in words? So, Will, you did bring up some logical points, and as somebody who is not familiar with the fan base, I will say that the one thing from an outsider looking in is the fact that Gryffindor is known for the majority of its cast, from Harry Potter to Hermione to Ron. The few I do know from an outsider looking in, and you have made some points. Neil, knowing people that do identify as Hufflepuff in the fandom, you really have done them proud.
Mel, your audio went out for a minute. What?
I said, in your case, for anybody I've known who is a fan of the franchise who identifies as a Hufflepuff, from what you've said, you've Hufflepuff house some good.
Mm-hmm.
It's very convincing. So this makes it really hard from somebody who's not a fan and having to like choose. But
Chris can help you if he needs to.
Well, he's a Slytherin, so. He's gonna be biased.
Is a Slytherin.
So before I declare the winner, I have to say that Ravenclaw, unfortunately, is disqualified since Callum will not be back for the rest of the episode, or for the remainder of the episode. So, Dornay's drum roll, please. I'm going to have to say Neil.
Yes!
It was close, and you did knock off some points with me when you mentioned, how excited you were that Robert Pattinson was fucking playing Batman. But I think it's just because your argument, despite the fact that you say that you're not a Hufflepuff, you're more of a Ravenclaw. I think that's the most Hufflepuff thing I'll ever hear anybody say. So I think that you might need to reconsider your house.
Honestly, not even kidding. Just as friggin' Will said, this might be my favorite moment on the show. Because literally, I took Hufflepuff because I was like, well, Callum doesn't want Hufflepuff. I'll do it. And yeah, you know what? I have a new appreciation for Hufflepuff after that. So,
Yeah.
you know
Honestly, that was an amazing argument right there. Just wow.
Hufflepuffs, listen, I have mocked you before. I have called you Jigglypuff. But I think that's over. Jeez, wow, guys. We
Next
did
show,
that.
Hufflepuffs are all Jigglypuffs. Just kidding.
That was cool.
Yeah,
I'm
that
proud
was
of me. And thank you, Mel. Thank you. You should watch more Harry Potter. It's really good.
Yeah, especially you said you stopped after 4. If I heard.
Yeah.
Okay, 5.
5 is one of the best ones.
Oh yeah, 5. Yeah, after 4, that's when stuff really starts to. Wow. Yeah, just wow.
All right.
Okay.
Let's finish up with Mel's final topic. The final topic of tonight because Callum died. Well, he actually already did his topic, so.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead, Mel. What is yours?
Okay.
If you don't have one, I think Chris thought of one.
I'm totally fine with Chris throwing one just because I was trying to be like the non-biased judge this whole entire time that I couldn't even think of one. So I'll let Chris pick a quick one.
Well, real fast, I want to just go ahead and pick Chris. I'll give you a little time here. Will, your argument was very solid. So I kind of had to get all preachy and stuff because I knew I was going to lose if I didn't.
Yeah.
And I weirdly enough meant every word.
Yeah. It definitely sounded like it.
Well, that's the thing is that because I'm not into the Harry Potter fandom, and you guys obviously are, you both have made like good arguments for somebody who's not in the fandom, an outsider looking in. Also, T just confirmed so. What I mean is that you guys get so dedicated that it's actually kind of horrifying.
Yeah, we didn't help that reputation, did we?
That's why I'm scared of the fandom is that you guys are so dedicated that I can't say a bad thing about it without somebody being like, no! And it's just like, oh, God.
You can't talk bad about the second Fantastic Beasts movie. People will not hate you for that.
I actually like the second Fantastic Beasts movie, but a lot of people don't.
I don't like I like the first movie enough, but the second one, it's just like I had so much trouble following it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I speak with the voice of Chris. Here be my question. If Nintendo made a movie in 2021, who should play the Mario Brothers?
Oh, wow. Okay, Mario should be Danny DeVito. I'm just gonna say Mario.
Okay.
Danny DeVito's Mario.
I wanted him as Detective Pikachu.
What? Oh man.
But okay, so I'm gonna assume it's animated. That's sort of my
animated, because I was thinking like a live action Mario, and Danny DeVito kind of looks like a live action Mario. I'm gonna have to change
You
my
want my answer?
All right,
Charles
Live
Martinet, the voice of Mario.
yes.
I think they should bring him back because he's the original. No one else can do him. And if it's not animated, I guess I'll pick someone else. But Charles Martinet is a very good choice to just, you know what? Let's not fuck with a good thing.
Yeah, he's been doing
Let's
this for
just take
20 years. Why not?
Yeah, agreed. Like, no one's going to do it better than him. And he's also the voice of Luigi. So just, if he can make them both sound different at the same time, have him do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
he's still alive, damn it.
He's still doing it. He's still doing it.
He wants live action?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, here we go. Here's some
In that case, I stick with
bullshit for you.
There we go.
Okay. I apologize, world. I don't know a ton of Italian actors. So, picture this.
Oh, no.
You know what they did with Ghostbusters
Oh.
and
Don't
Jumanji, where they sort of took a cynical, like, sort of, you know.
Oh.
What? God damn it, Bob Hosk would be perfect for this. But what if we just go ahead and take a pretty good actor? I think that Michael B. Jordan should play Luigi.
Oh, man. And
Because here's the thing. We've seen Michael B. Jordan in a lot of... I've never seen him put in a bad performance.
that's true.
I think that, honest to God, if you put a gun to my head and said, pick somebody to play Luigi, fine. Michael B. Jordan could play anything. He doesn't necessarily need to be Italian, but think about it this way. I feel like seeing Michael B. Jordan play a cowardly character that is still brave in his core is something that would be different for him, because the big appeal of Luigi is he's afraid of everything, but he still gets the job done. Like, he's scared to go in the Haunted Mansion, but he still goes in there. His brother's in there. He's got to go get his brother. Michael B. Jordan could be a good Luigi. And who should play Mario? Well, Don Cheadle. No, Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie should play Mario.
No, you're right with Don Cheadle. I'm with Don Cheadle for Mario.
No, but hear me out. Anthony Mackie has the heart to be Mario. Like, I think Don Cheadle is very good in serious stuff, and he's very good in the Marvel movies, of course. But to play a character like Mario, we need somebody with a lot of heart that can play multiple things. We need Anthony Mackie.
Yeah. But the thing is, with Mario, I always kind of pictured him more as like, you know, sort of like a fatherly figure, or more like your fun uncle.
Well, I always sort of viewed Mario as just like this guy who always looks on the bright side. And I think Anthony Mackie can portray that pretty well. And yes, before someone says it, I have casted the Black Mario Brothers. And you know what? I support it.
Yeah, but you brought up Ghostbusters. I thought you were going to make them female.
Oh, no. Jesus.
Mario.
No, I didn't make them female. I picked two very good actors. And I think Anthony Mackie has the laugh to be Mario. He's got that smile, man. He's got that smile. And you know what? Both of these people look pretty good with mustaches. So
yeah,
I say Anthony Mackie and Michael B. Jordan. Go for it.
I will say, though, if Michael B. Jordan's going to be playing Luigi, he's going to have to let some of that go, because I don't think a lot of people are going to buy a buff Michael B. Jordan as cowardly Luigi. Well,
you got to remember, the Mario Brothers are from Brooklyn.
I know, but we're talking about Luigi here.
Okay. Well,
yeah. So
yeah, he's gonna have to lose a little bit of the tone.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my cast. Mel, you want to go ahead?
So for Mario, and I know this is going to be kind of weird, but I would actually want Paul Giamatti to play Mario.
Oh, okay. Change my mind from Danny DeVito to Paul Giamatti.
What? Okay, I'm in. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just because he's not old yet, or he's not at that. He still is like kind of like has that energy about him still that I think he would actually make a pretty good Mario.
Right.
Especially if you put him in like recent stuff. Like I'm actually getting into the Billionaires show that he's in. He plays the lawyer, and he still has that energy of he can be like over the top of, you know. And I think that he would be a good Mario fit just for that alone. And then Luigi, I mean, you guys have some good points with like who you picked.
But I don't
Luigi's
think Will picked a Luigi.
I did not. But Melissa, please
Go ahead,
please.
Mel.
But if I were to pick, I would, since he's the quote-unquote younger brother and all that, I would have to pick, what's his name?
Ryan Seacrest.
No, not Seacrest. I'd have to pick Jay Bartushel, I think his name is.
Okay. Yeah.
Who plays Steve Harrington from Stranger Things? He'd be a good Luigi.
Yeah.
Okay, I just
I think it's mostly due that Jay has like this slender, and you don't have to worry about him like toning down, and he's got like kind of the lankiness about him. And I'm pretty sure if I remember right, I think he is a bit taller than Paul Giamatti would be now. So I think that they would be like the perfect dynamic duo, and they're such opposites that it would work. And Jay's also known to play the cowardly role anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a perfect fit, is Paul Giamatti being Mario and Jay I can never say his name right. Sorry, Jay. I love you. Except for in Sorcerer's Apprentice. I'll never forgive you for that film. But
that guy.
Yeah.
I know him. Isn't he also like
I think
the guy from How to Train Your Dragon?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hiccup. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
You know, I just thought of a second casting for both Mario and Luigi. I don't know if this is better, but it's also like Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell. Do like a Kenan and Kel thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just saying, both of them, they have the right personalities. Just make Kel a little more scaredy-cattish.
Well, if we're
Once
going
again, Black Mario Bros. I am full support. Make the Mario Brothers black.
Actually, no. If we're gonna do this, then I say that it should be Key and Peele. It should be Jordan Peele and Keegan Michael Key.
Okay, that one's not bad, but
Yeah. You just want to see.
I think I like Kenan Thompson better. Kenan Thompson and Kel. Kenan and Kel.
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, they could pull that off. They got it. They have the technology. But you have yet to pick your Luigi, sir.
Okay. Mario, I pretty much agree with Mel for Paul Giamatti. Though if I really have to pick my own, I'd still have to say Danny DeVito, just because he kind of looks like a real life Mario, just a lot older, if you will. And I think he could be very funny in that role, and he could bring a lot of heart. Now Luigi, this actor for some it's gonna be especially weird if we're gonna cast DeVito as Mario, because this actor's so much younger than Danny DeVito. But for some reason, I think Luigi. I just think this actor. I think Michael Cera.
No, I hate Michael Cera. I know that's controversial. I'm not a big Michael Cera guy. I think he could do it, though. You're right. He could be a good Luigi.
Yeah, he just so much. He just embodies so much of what I imagined about Luigi. Just again, if we're gonna have it if Danny DeVito's gonna be Mario, then it might as well be like Mario father and son. Super
We
Mario.
already
Falls.
did that.
Yeah, they did. That's right. With Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
And Ben Kingsley plays Bowser.
Oh, that would be cool.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's our show, everybody. Let's go around.
We still
What?
have Princess Peach.
Oh, were we supposed to cast Princess Peach?
I mean, I would assume so.
Who's that one act? Anna Kendricks. Nah, Anna Kendricks is more of a Princess Daisy.
This year's. RuPaul? I don't know, just whatever would piss off the internet the most.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes. Oh, Mario. Oh,
Thank you, Mario. Have a kick.
All right, let's wrap this up since it's been
Yeah,
about
let's go around. Will, thank you for being our special guest. Where can they find you at?
Well, first off,
Don't-
I
It
wrote
was
this whole-
censored. It was censored.
Sorry.
Censor that too.
this part.
Just had to get that out there.
Okay, where can we?
You can find me on Stardust at Darthpotter7, and I actually do have a YouTube channel, WJS Productions. I don't have anything on there yet, but I do have some things coming down the pipeline that hopefully will be coming out. So, yeah, that's where you can find me.
All right. And of
And,
course, you have your Stardust. Did you mention your Stardust?
Yeah, I mentioned my
Yes, you
Stardust.
My head is in the clouds.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you guys for letting me on here. It was a great time.
We'd love to have you back, man.
Yeah.
It was a
Mel?
pleasure.
Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, so anything that has the words imperfect and vanity on it, you can find me there. I'm almost at 700 followers on Stardust, so if you'd like to bust that up a little bit, please follow, or you guys can tell your friends to get me up to 700. I'm kind of an entertaining person on there. I'm not sure, but you can find me on Stardust at ImperfectVanity. You can also find me on Instagram at ImperfectVanity with an underscore, and just anywhere that has that, or you can just type in "Hey you," and usually my picture comes up.
All right. I guess that leaves me. And of course, before I even get to myself, please follow our amazing director, chrispyto artist. His Instagram is in the description, along with his Twitch channel. He really is the one who makes these episodes happen. And I love you, buddy. Like, he's probably like, he's very important to this show's existence. So please give him some love. And
Yes,
also,
you.
without Chris, there's no show.
There isn't.
You can end the show without me. Without Chris, there's no show. And of course, you can find me right here on this channel. I also have a Stardust at Dr. Knealetapus. I stream pretty frequently. There's a dog trying to ruin the show, but I won't let him. And remember, if you want to be in the show like Darth Potter here, simply react to one of the topics that we've had here. Tag the movie that you are specifically referencing, and also tag one of us. We will seek you out and we will tell the others about you.
Yeah.
Right, or you can tag any of us who are on the show. Like, we're going to leave Callum's channels down in the description below. We're also going to leave Ron, Stephanie's, and John, since he's been one of our more frequent guests on the show. So we'll leave all their social media information along with Chris's and ours down in the description below, and tell your friends, your countrymen, your cats to follow.
Your fellow
and subscribe.
Hufflepuff.
Yes. But until next time, it was great seeing you on the show, Will, and you all have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.
So now we gotta turn Ron black again. How are we gonna do this?
Stop. Cut it.